Hello, everyone, and welcome to Film Geek Time Machine. I'm your host, Austin Kennedy.
I'm Tim Kaiser.
He's the other host.
I'm the other host, by the way. I'm a criminal.
Yay!
You're about to find out about a horrible crime I committed.
Oh, no. So, in this podcast, I have a time machine. And what does a film geek do with a time machine? Well, go back in time to watch random movies. So, what me and Tim do, we pick random dates from random number generator or whatever, and then we look at the newspaper, thanks to newspapers.com, and we look at what we could see that day. We actually have a movie marathon, and we'll go see movies from like whatever noon to like 10 or 11 at night.
Yeah.
Depending if there's a drive-in, which there was a drive-in this time, so we didn't get to go to the drive-in.
Half the year we got drive-ins.
April 30th, 1987 was this year. That's where we're going. That's where we went back in time.
I think the drive-ins might open like a week earlier. Okay, they were not.
Well, there was only two. There was only two drive-ins open this time, and there's definitely more than two drive-ins in Minneapolis.
It's late April.
And again, we're from Minneapolis, so we're looking at the Minneapolis Star-Tribune newspaper. So we're going back in time to that time period. So, but before we tell you what we chose, what movies we're going to go see, we've got 6 movies from 1987 that we're going to talk about. However, let's talk about the time period. So the popular music, number one song was I Knew You Were Waiting for Me by George Michael and Aretha Franklin. And when we both didn't know what it was.
I didn't know the name of the song.
No, but as soon as we listened to it, I know that song.
I just didn't know what the fucking name was.
Right.
I knew that they had done a duet.
Yeah.
I just couldn't place it in my head until I listened to it.
Don't Dream It's Over by Crowded House, which I love that song. Sign of the Times by Prince.
Oh, yeah.
We
like know the rest of these songs.
Looking for New Love, Jody Watley. I Just Died in Your Arms, Cutting Crew, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. What is it? Isla Bonita. That's the last night I dreamt of San Pedro. The Spanish lullaby. That's Madonna.
Yes.
The Finer Things, Steve Winwood. Midnight Blue. Midnight Blue.
Yeah, all the rest
Lou Gramm,
of these
With or Without You, You Too.
This is 87.
Yeah. It's awesome.
This is when music was made for me, okay?
Now,
I was a teenager.
Now, I was looking through some of this, Lady in Red.
Yes.
Lady in Red. Down here, because this is the whole top 100 of this week.
What's going on, Cyndi Lauper? Which one? Oh, yeah, I know that.
So that's actually, that's a remake of the Marvin Gaye song, What's Going On.
Yeah, she does a cover of that?
Yeah, I didn't know that
I don't remember that at all.
No.
That's a singing song.
It's pretty good.
That requires, like, singing, and Cyndi Lauper is more for interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk Dirty to Me, Poison, of course.
Oh, yes.
But there's some down the line, like I looked at the whole top 100. 2 songs from the Over the Top soundtrack are on here.
From Over the Top. Fucking still on.
I love it. Winter Takes It All by Sammy Hagar, then the Kenny Loggins. I forgot what the name of that song was, but You Can Call Me Al, Paul Simon.
Oh yeah, God, you're right. Oh, so is Meet Me Halfway on any soundtrack? Because Kenny Loggins is only allowed soundtrack music. Okay.
Yeah, that's the Over the Top.
There we go. Oh yeah, okay. Soundtrack
That's my
music.
Over the Top.
Soundtrack music.
Caddyshack. Top Gun. Yeah.
Caddyshack, Footloose, Top Gun. All 3 of those.
The famous, great music. Also on the TV series. Look, I actually pulled up, this is the primetime schedule in 1987. So you want to look at the spring.
Kate and Allie, I used to love that. My Sister Sam, that's sad.
So it began April 5th, so it just brand new, 21 Jump Street, Married with Children, and the Tracy Ullman Show just started this year. Fox just started, yeah.
Fox started in 87, boy, I would have thought, I guess
Moonlighting's still on. Who's the Boss, Growing Pains, Max Headroom.
We watched a movie that Moonlighting made during Moonlighting.
Spencer for Hire. Night Heat, Hill Street Blues is still on. Give Me a Break. Night Court still on.
My Sister Sam was up there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, which is
Is that the robot? Or
no, My Sister Sam is the Pam Dauber. And that one girl who then got murdered. Right after, it wasn't this year. The show was off.
MacGyver.
I think that My Sister Sam had been canceled, but she got killed in '89.
So, Cagney and Lacey was still running strong. Webster.
Okay, I know what Webster is. Oh, Mr. Belvedere. Oh, Sledgehammer.
Yeah, Crime Story.
Sledgehammer was fucking amazing.
They did a series of Starman.
Oh my God!
It starred.
I forgot about that.
God, what's his name? It starred the guy,
the most generic white guy in the world.
Oh no, it was the guy from Airplane.
Yeah, the most
Robert
generic
Hayes.
white guy in the world.
Yeah. The Ellen Bernstein Show. I didn't even know about that. Werewolf Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
We haven't really looked at the TV shows before.
Yeah, The Facts of Life.
Weird shit. But
227.
I saw a lot of this
227. Amen. With that Sherman Hemsley from Jefferson's in there. Amen.
That was his
Golden Girls still on.
Other attempt at a show that didn't.
Hunter.
I think Amen lasted 2 seasons.
It didn't last too long. Yeah. Anyways, so that's a fun time to go back to. Actually.
Yeah. Too bad we didn't watch any fucking TV.
So this is on the newspaper. This is check out what we had to see. These are our choices. I will let you know, out of all the weeks, this was a really hard week. We were having a hard time picking movies.
Yes.
Because there was like 10 movies that we wanted to talk about.
We had to specifically avoid certain movies that we knew we were like, oh, I've seen that 12 times. We don't
Right.
need to watch that.
No. Yeah, so a lot of the famous movies, like Lethal Weapon is there, of course.
Yes.
Raising Arizona, which I would gladly talk about again.
And Crocodile Dundee was on there and all that stuff. And I'm like, sure, I've seen all these things.
Evil Dead 2, which I've seen a lot, quite a few times.
I've even seen that kind of recently.
Color of Money, Peggy Sue Got Married. But yeah, so let's see some of the other ones that Sid and Nancy. I really did want to see that because I've never seen.
Nancy. Oh yeah, but I kind of vetoed it because it would make me irritated.
Pissed off. Yeah.
Gary,
but I heard
Gary
Oldman's really good.
You're supposed to like Sid, and I'm like, no, he's a piece of shit.
Please
murders his girlfriend in the fucking movie.
Angel Heart, we didn't see, which that would have been Extreme Prejudice. We almost picked because it's a Walter Hill action movie, and I really liked it, and you haven't seen it.
I would have not complained.
Yeah,
but we had to. The way we
Secret of My Success.
We definitely both picked 3 movies in this one.
I think so.
I picked 3. You picked 3. We just then had to look at the times and weasel how they happened.
Right. Golden Child was still out.
That one I know I've seen.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
3 is that Dream Warriors?
Yeah, that's the good one. That's
like the only good sequel.
Well, we did something interesting too. So, and we'll go into it when we pick the movies. Aristocats of Police. I think I said Police Academy 4 already. American Tail was out there. Let's see if there's Tin Men. We almost picked, which was I almost picked that one. It's Danny DeVito, Richard Dreyfuss.
I've seen Tin Men.
Oh, you have seen Tin Men. I've never seen it.
Oh, really?
Oh, Little Shop of Horrors, which is like your favorite movie.
No, but we're not seeing that shitty version with the shitty garbage ending.
Right. No,
I only watched the good version, and I'll happily watch it right now. Okay, but I'm not watching that fucking stupid ending. The baby.
Right.
I don't like it when everybody in the world dies.
So what we did pick was our first movie is Wild Thing. We almost picked Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay.
Yeah.
We almost picked Rumpelstiltskin, and then you changed your mind. Here's how we do this.
Yeah.
We record it. Right now we're going to record this episode.
Yeah.
After the episode is done, we're then going to pick the movies.
Yes, for the next episode.
But then we don't see them yet.
Yeah.
We go on a later time.
Yeah.
Here's what happened. You picked Rumpelstiltskin. After I left, you then said, I'm going to change it to Wild Thing. And I'm like, okay, Austin, here's my confession.
Yeah.
While you were gone one day, I stole the time machine. And I went to go fucking see Rumpelstiltskin. Okay? So right now, you're getting my fucking review of Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay, Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay,
Nice.
Here's what Rumpelstiltskin is. Rumpelstiltskin.
When did you steal it?
You were just sleeping one
God
night.
damn
It's
it.
fucking fine.
Oh,
you're not here all the
put
time.
a lock on my thing.
No, your door's never locked.
It is never
the
locked.
most forgiving person in the world.
You can go.
Okay,
Rumpelstiltskin.
So Rumpelstiltskin is part of a series that Canon Films made of children's fables turned into musicals.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Here's the surprise thing about Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah. It's not nearly as shitty as you expected.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Billy Barty is Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good in it. He's
Billy
fun.
Barty's awesome.
He goes all in. I have no idea who the chick is. Okay, I don't know what her fucking name is. I'll never know.
Amy Irving?
Huh?
Amy Irving?
Is that her name? Okay.
She's from Carrie and was married to Steven
fucking
Spielberg.
Terrible.
She is Steven
terrible
Spielberg's
in this.
kids.
Here's the thing. Oh, is she?
Yes, she was married to Steven Spielberg. She's not anymore.
No,
but
because
it's Kate Capshaw now.
Yeah. They've been married for a long time. Actually,
Yeah.
She can't sing, but then again, there's only one good song in the whole thing. The King sings a song about greed that is legitimately one of my favorite things I've ever fucking seen in a musical. He is so fucking hilariously over the top greedy, and because the Rumpelstiltskin story has Rumpelstiltskin. This girl says she can spin straw into gold, right?
Yeah.
Then the king takes her and puts her in a thing and says, spin the straw into gold by tomorrow, or I'll chop your head off, right? And she sits there crying, but Rumpelstiltskin shows up, does it for her. I don't know the full original story, but in this, she does it 3 times. On the 3rd time, each time it happens, she has to give him a thing. The first 2 times it makes no sense. She gives him gold jewelry. And I'm like, you can make infinite gold, moron, okay? You make no sense. But
it's a full-blown musical, too. So
it's a full-blown musical. There's a song that goes through and it keeps coming back. Literally just the words straw into gold sung, sort of. It's terrible.
Right.
Okay? The movie is surprisingly entertaining because it's the right kind of shitty.
Right.
It's the right kind of shitty.
I like the right kind of shitty.
The right kind of shitty makes it very enjoyable. But legitimately, that song the King sings about greed
it's awesome.
is awesome because Because the first time he does it, she has to give him some gold jewelry that she happens to have, and then she has like a necklace the second time. The third time, there's something where the queen or somebody says that you have to, if she can, there's literally a law in the kingdom that if she can do a thing 3 times, you can never ask her to do it again, okay? It's the most bullshit musical nonsense you've ever heard of, right? So she does it a 3rd time. Rumpelstiltskin shows up. He says, you have to give me your firstborn. And she's going to marry the prince because she's, like, hot.
Yeah.
And the prince is handsome. And so that's how fairy tales work, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. After he shows up a few years later saying, give me the kid, she talks him into, if you can guess his name, that's Rumpelstiltskin. I know I'm giving a huge thing, but some people aren't going to know fucking Rumpelstiltskin, I guess, okay? But in the original story, somehow, and I remember this, she makes, like, some of the king's men go find out what his name is. And and in the original story, the king's men find Rumpelstiltskin, and they hear him jumping around and singing and dancing about his name. That's the only singing that happens in the original story. That does not happen in this fucking movie. There's no song like that. Instead, there's a little girl that somehow is mute. Okay? And Rumpelstiltskin, just to like fuck with her or something, tells her his name because she knows she can never say the name. She eventually makes herself say the name because she's just, I don't know. They don't explain why she's mute. But that's it. Okay? But the movie is the right kind of shitty. Okay. That's basically my entire review. The right kind of shitty, 2.5 stars.
Okay, that sounds about right.
2.5 stars.
Wow.
Now, there we go. I'm sorry. I stole the time machine.
I'm actually shocked. Let the audience know. I did not know he did this.
No.
So he just revealed it just now.
That's the criminal thing I referenced earlier. Okay.
All right. I'll allow it.
Good. Well, good, because I hopefully don't have to do it again, but don't change your fucking mind about a movie I kind of want to see. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, change it to a movie that I've literally never heard of.
It was really hard. So there was 2 movies. There was Rumpelstiltskin and then Wild Thing, and I watched the trailer before, and I'm like, oh, I kind of want to watch it. So then when
we suppose we should mention the other movies. Well, I kind of
I will in a second.
Okay.
But when you left, my nephew was still here, and I'm like, oh, I got to show you the trailer for Wild Thing. And we watched it, and he's like, you gotta do that, because the trailer.
I had never heard of this movie.
The trailer is fucking crazy. Anyways, okay, so the first movie we're gonna review that we actually went back in time to, not the stolen movie.
I didn't steal a movie.
No,
I would never steal
my
a
movie,
not from the internet or anything.
All right, so Rumpelstiltskin. No, I do want to watch it, and then maybe if I watch it in a future episode,
it's on YouTube.
No, if I watch it for a future episode, I'll watch it and then chime in my 2 cents.
Yeah,
next time.
I'm not watching that movie again. I mean, I give it 2.5 stars. I might watch it again with somebody.
So Wild Thing was the first movie, which was at Roseville. Yep, at 1:00.
Yep.
And then we go to Pavilion Place, which is also in Rosedale, and we see 4 movies at this theater. So and then so the first one. Well, I'll explain what happened there. So the first one we saw was
that's right. We weaseled the drive-in.
Yeah,
we did about that.
So Wild Thing, Outrageous Fortune is our second movie we're doing, which is Shelley Long and Bette Midler.
Yep.
Big buddy movie action comedy. Then we have Starship, which was a movie I didn't really hear of. I had to kind of look it up, and it's under another title. It was released in like Australia, I think, Lorca and the Outlaws. Starship is the movie that we saw, and it was directed by Roger Christian, who did Battlefield Earth. So he went on to direct Battlefield Earth.
Fully explains a lot of things about that movie.
Then we went to see Blake Edwards, who did Operation Petticoat that we reviewed earlier. Blind Date with Bruce Willis in his first starring role. Theatrically, because he was on Moonlight.
It was also just like with Die Hard the next year. He was doing this while he was doing
Moonlight. Yeah. Then we watched Burglar, and this is the one you kind of picked because you really wanted to see a Whoopi Goldberg movie.
Yes.
You were like, and this was the only time out of all the theaters, it was only shown at 9:15.
Yeah, it's weird. This must have been right at the end of its run.
But we wanted to go to the drive-in, but in order to do that, we'd have to get there at 9:00 to see the drive-in. So what we did was, we were like, well, you know what? We looked at the drive-in, and one of them had Platoon and Something Wild. Well, we both seen Platoon, and I've seen it many times. I'm like, we can skip Platoon. Let's go see Burglar, and then we'll just see the second movie. So we drove really fast, and then saw the end of Platoon when a lot of shit blew up. And then we saw Something Wild.
We saw Something Wild, yes. Okay.
Which was a Jonathan Demme movie starring Melanie Griffith and Jeff Daniels.
Yes.
And Jonathan Demme also directed Crazy Mama, which we also saw at the drive-in.
We did.
So we saw
we're only going to see his stuff in drive-in.
I
Okay?
guess so.
That's the rules.
So the next time, Silence of the Lambs at the drive-in.
This is the only movie from '86 that we saw because
yes, it was a holdover
drive-in thing where they show last year's movie.
Yep. And Platoon is also '86 as well.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the first movie that we saw together was Wild Thing. So you haven't seen the trailer. I got to show you the trailer because you're going to be like, oh.
Sure.
The trailer.
Maybe I'll watch it sometime.
The trailer's pretty awesome.
I don't need to. I've seen this movie twice.
You had to watch it again?
This is my favorite fucking movie of the episode.
Oh! yes. Okay, Wild Thing is this is a bonkers movie.
Oh, don't worry. This movie's fucking terrible.
So Wild Thing, it stars Robert. Oh yeah, let's get to our thingies here that we always do. Yeah, Robert Knepper and Kathleen Quinlan. Kathleen Quinlan is an Academy Award nominee. She was nominated in 1995 for playing Tom Hanks' wife in Apollo 13. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress.
Okay, so, I do remember her now in there. Okay, that was very much supporting, but her role in that is pretty important because
in Wild Thing.
Because in Apollo 13.
Oh no, it was
yes,
an important
it's
role
in this too. Sure.
So Robert Knepper, he's a character actor that I've seen like in movies and stuff, but yeah, he was a young guy in this one. So Wild Thing is about it starts off actually in 1969. A bunch of hippies have their kid, and long story short, they get murdered and by some bad guy named Chopper, played by Robert Davi, who was
by one of the Agent Johnsons from Die Hard, yes,
and in the Goonies, one of the Fratellis.
Yep.
And the bad guy in License to Kill, James. He's a Bond villain.
He's never likable. Okay.
And so, but then also there's a cop that kind of is in on it or whatever. I don't think he's reluctantly in on it, played by the late Maury Chaykin. Or I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but he's the guy that shot himself in Dances with Wolves at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Anyways.
He dies in this too.
Yeah. Well, when he put the gun, I'm like,
I think he was going to kill himself.
Yeah. Well, when he put a gun to his head, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, you do that 3 years later in Dances with Wolves. Hold on. But the kid.
So you had never seen this?
No.
Okay.
So the kid ends up going out. I haven't seen any of these movies.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, weird.
So
I would assume you would have seen one of them.
No. So the kid.
Demme one, if anything.
Which one?
The Demme one.
Demme
the
one?
Jonathan Demme.
Oh no, I never seen it. No,
seen that. Not Demi Moore.
No, right.
Not any of these movies.
That's what I went to. He kind of gets lost, so he runs away and he's running around New York by himself or whatever. And
yes, this is Tarzan.
Yeah,
this movie is Tarzan.
So he gets raised by the homeless people, all these homeless people.
Well, specifically, mostly one
this lady played by Betty Buckley.
Crazy homeless lady.
Yeah. So he gets, the system and everything.
The company.
So
the white coats
and the
are
blue
doctors,
coats.
the blue coats are
the
police.
Cops. Yeah. Go to 1987, and now he's a grown man, and he's kind of a legend around the parts. Like, the Wild Thing will get you.
Thing.
So he's kind of like.
By the way, that's the only name he ever has. In this
Yeah.
I think we never find out what his name was.
No, and but he's kind of like a vigilante where he goes around.
It's weird. Okay,
he's like a legend.
When it goes to quote unquote the present. So I'm going to talk about that for a second. When that happens in movies where it says it has specific dates, like 68,
69, 74,
and then the present. And I'm like, 2023? No, just put the fucking date of the movie in there, you morons.
It was the present then.
I know, but that's not what that should just fucking put 87 in. Okay?
So, when a movie comes out today, it should say present 2023?
No, it shouldn't even say the word present. It should just say 2023 if there's a time jump.
I see.
If it has other dates, is all I'm saying.
So you don't like it when...
blah. And then suddenly it says the present. And I'm like...
So you don't like it when a movie says present?
Yes.
Okay.
when it has other dates.
Yeah.
Basically, this is the thing I have to... That's me. I have to complain about things.
You do.
This is a podcast about me complaining about things. That's literally the only thing I'm complaining about in this movie.
Oh.
Because this movie is the most perfect piece of shit movie in the fucking world.
Anyways, Robert Davi's Chopper is still around there, and he's kind of owns this whole crappy neighborhood or whatever.
He's now moved up in the world.
Yeah,
he runs the whole system.
The whole system. But then Kathleen Quinlan plays Jane.
Jane.
Yes,
that's her fucking name. Do they call her Jane?
I don't know, but her name's Jane on the Wikipedia page.
Well, in the credits, her name is Jane.
Yeah.
But then I'm like,
I don't remember her saying Jane.
We saw this together.
Yeah.
Travel through time.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I have to show this to my fucking friends when we came back. So I watched it with my friend Gracie.
Okay. Cool.
And the problem with that version of watching a movie though is you just fucking talk the whole time. So I'm like, I don't know if they ever called her Jane. It's too enjoyable to sit there and shit in this fucking piece of shit, awesome fucking shit movie.
So
it's so entertaining.
Yeah. So it's pretty much just a series of him, like, there's hero stuff, like he saves people from fires, he does all this stuff, and then people are chanting "Wild Thing, Wild Thing."
Well, when Jane comes to town,
Jane comes to town.
She immediately she's coming to the city. They never tell you what city it is.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and she's also there because she's working at some like she's doing like social work.
She's going to be a social worker.
Yeah.
A new one in this shelter, like what it was called, right?
Yep.
Something like that. She's immediately assaulted and almost raped and murdered.
Oh yeah.
Literally 10 minutes later.
Right. But
Wild Thing saves her.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Wild Thing has this awesome cat, which is Wild Thing's cheetah.
Yeah.
Tarzan has cheetah.
Yeah.
He never seems to name the cat.
No.
Okay?
No.
The cat is there like all the time.
Right.
That cat is awesome. Even though the cat does nothing ever.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That cat serves no function except for to be a cute cat. Okay?
Well, long story short, it ends in a kind of a climax between Wild Thing and Robert Davi's Chopper.
Yes.
And because he kidnaps Kathleen Quinlan Jane.
Yes.
And
I think it's mostly to get at Wild Thing.
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. So it's trying to go on. Yeah. So the way the movie starts, when it has the the Atlantic pictures, and all of a sudden it just goes Wild Thing, and it goes boom, and it's this bam, the title hits.
Oh, this is gonna be epic! And then it starts off with the darkest shit in the world.
Oh yeah,
hippies show up, get murdered by crazies, and I'm like, their heads are blown away, bang bang.
This is 1987 PG-13.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, so yes, and while they're murdered, okay. He's like hiding.
Yeah.
Because he's like asleep, but he wakes up and he's hiding.
He sees it, yeah.
He gets up and runs. Full toddler.
Yeah.
Full toddler run, and they don't catch him. I'm like, the toddler is barely moving, okay? And then the toddler is standing over like a waterfall.
Yeah.
And he goes full fugitive where he jumps in.
Oh, yeah.
And
was pretty awesome, actually.
Well, it cuts to a fully grown guy in like a fucking toddler outfit, okay? Fully grown dude, he
pretty
jumps
awesome.
in.
Yeah.
But he jumps, they assume the kid's dead because they're fucking, I guess. I mean, yes, if I saw a toddler jump in there, I would kind of assume he's dead, okay? But if that toddler had the ability to transform into a fully grown, muscular stuntman, he's fine, okay?
Yeah, no, so Robert Knepper, his performance is hilariously awesomely bad.
He, like, for the first, like, half of the
doesn't
movie,
talk.
you don't think he can speak.
And then he starts talking.
When he starts talking, full sentences, okay?
Yeah, but
all the way to full speaking, and then he literally can do impressions of radio voices.
Oh,
and
that's
I'm like,
pretty
what
funny.
the fuck is happening in this movie?
Because that's what he's listening. That's what he was growing up with.
Yes.
But what my favorite though is when Kathleen Quinn was like, "Why did you rescue me? I was lonely." When he says that, you're like,
he also is. I don't know where he got paint from, but he's the best painter in the entire fucking world. And he painted an entire portrait of her after he rescued her.
The funniest scene in the movie for me was the pseudo sex scene when they were gonna.
That's not pseudo sex. That's full body bumping. Okay?
But, that's right.
That's full body bumping, and I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
That's the only fucking word we use for the rest of this entire fucking episode. And every episode.
Because Robert Knepper called
sex is not a thing. It's only called body bumping.
Wild Thing says body bump.
Body bump. Because they show it in the 70s.
When he was a kid,
when he was 10, he like saw two people fucking.
Yeah, so it's the body bump. But
body bumping. But body bumping. And she, in that scene, she legit reaches right down and grabs his arm.
Yes!
And I'm like, holy shit, I think she really did it. I mean, she really grabbed that hot guy so hard.
I laughed really hard at that.
Dude, I know the guy is like relatively buff and never wears clothes, so she's fucking hot for him constantly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting thing about the casting. So, the guy who played Paul was one of the guys that were in that one like kind of halfway house or whatever. Because I think he got hurt or died or got killed. Yeah, that's right. So it's him and then that one black girl that were like together.
Well, there's a whole storyline with this with that black girl who then they like convince her to turn tricks, and then she changes her mind.
Yeah,
and I'm like, did she kill that guy?
But
it sounds like she killed the guy, but they never really make it clear.
But her friend, that guy Paul, that's director Sean Levy. Who is directing episodes of Stranger Things now.
What?
And he also directed the Night at the Museum movies. He's a filmmaker now.
Oh, shit.
But that's Sean.
That's him?
Yeah, but...
you know too much shit.
I do. So, anyways, the girl, oh my God, when she does the tricks and the prostitute, that 5-minute song, she has the business. She was like,
business lady.
Businesswoman. I was laughing
oh,
so...
Oh, God, that song is so fucking hilariously terrible.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard at that. And I was trying to find it. I can't find it anywhere.
Oh, really?
God, I looked online. I looked anywhere.
They use actual 60s music when they do the 60s.
Yeah,
they cut the 70s, use actual 70s.
And that's
they cut the 87.
Shit,
They don't have rights to anything from that time, so they have to do fake 80s music never
played,
heard of, but it legit sounds like 80s. But songs that
they
were
play
never
Wild
going to be
Thing
hits.
in here too.
They play Wild Thing because they have to.
Yeah.
There's the first of 2 movies today. They're going to play Wild Thing.
So so on one hand, it is enjoyably bad. I do wish, for some reason, I kind of wish it went a little further, just a little bit. For me, I wanted it to be a little more ridiculous, because
I think if it goes too ridiculous, it becomes too self-aware that it isn't trying to be good. They were legit trying to make a good movie, and they failed at every fucking level. Level, but to such a degree that you're like, I'm going to watch this movie every fucking day for the rest of my life. It's so fucking entertaining.
The only thing I was kind of let down with, because when I found out the villain, Robert Davi, I didn't think he was, if you compare him to all the other movies that he's in, he was really understated in this movie, and almost felt like that he wasn't hamming it up like he does like in like the other movies, like in Goonies, or even the License to Kill movie. He's awesome as the bad guy in that.
It feels like he wanted to, but the director told him to rein it in.
You know what?
Okay?
No, that's exactly what I think. I think the director was like,
but then they said for Wild Thing, go all the way to crazy. Okay?
And interesting thing. So it was directed by Max Reed, who really hasn't done a whole lot, but the screenwriter John Sayles, he is a legitimately really well-regarded independent filmmaker. So it's funny because he had 2 sides of himself. Okay. He would, because all his movies wouldn't make any money because they were all like artsy films.
Okay.
So he would write for the studios or write for Hollywood. He would write B movies. So he wrote Alligator, 1980. And he wrote
writing involved in Alligator.
Yeah, he wrote, which is a fun movie too. And then he wrote this movie, but he went on to direct Lone Star, 1996 with Chris Christopherson, Secret of Ronan Nish, like a lot of movies. Like
he made a lot of bad choices.
Okay? Yeah. What, with his writing? You mean? With this movie?
When the movies where he was trying to make money, it sounds to me like he picked movies that weren't going to make any fucking money.
No,
Alligator didn't make any money.
No, he wrote his own
movie
movies.
I never fucking heard of.
And
I was 19.
Yeah. No,
I was 18. I was full 18.
I did hear of this because I always looked at the papers every week, so I remember seeing the ad for this, but I didn't really know anything about it. So on one hand, I did kind of enjoy how silly it was and stuff. I can't give it a full recommendation. It's a 2.5 for me.
Okay, what would you give The Room? The movie, The Room. Because it's terrible, but it's also, I think, the most perfect
because I think it's
thing ever.
But it's
this isn't quite to that level.
Exactly,
but it's fucking close.
Exactly, that's why
I love this fucking piece of shit.
So that's why I think I would probably give The Room like a 3.5.
I'm gonna give this a 3.5.
Okay, good. I'm glad you liked it.
Because I would give The Room a 4. Because it here's the thing. Tommy Wiseau, he caught on, and any future stuff he then understands what he's going to do is make shitty. Yeah. And it's all fucking unwatchable.
Yeah.
But not like fun unwatchable.
No.
It's legitimately like, no, you don't understand why The Room is good. The Room is only good because you thought you were making a good movie.
Yeah.
These people thought they were making not a good movie. They thought they were making a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
But also, where they also said, let's make it so that Wild Thing has a fucking umbrella, okay? And then he shoots it towards a guy, and it lands in the general vicinity of a guy, and then somehow that guy ends up trapped in the umbrella.
Oh, like the grappling hook kind of thing?
It was literally 20 feet away from that guy.
That was hilarious.
And then it cuts to a scene, to the shot where the guy's trapped in the umbrella, and I'm like, I do not understand it, but boy, do I fucking love it.
So you liked it a lot more than I did. I was hoping to like it at that level, and it was for me. It was almost. I almost liked it at that level, but that business lady was my favorite.
Oh, business lady! That song. Song is so. Fucking
I will say,
cool.
if you do
it's
like
so terrible shitty.
I will say, if you do like bad movies, like getting together with a group of people to watch shitty movies. This is a good one to watch.
Yes. When I watched it the second time, and I watched movies with my friend Gracie, I almost specifically watched shitty movies.
Yeah.
It was fucking amazing. She had never heard of it. We sat down.
Did she like it?
Oh, she loved it.
Yes, awesome.
Great. I mean, she just had. It's just the perfect one to sit there and just be baffled by every decision that was made in this movie.
Yeah, we're laughing a lot. All right. Oh, and I did like the music by George S. Clinton. Different George Clinton, but George S.
Yes,
Clinton.
we also saw that.
But
I
no,
didn't
I-
notice that until
I
the
like
second
the
time.
80s
George
music.
S. Clinton.
No.
Not
He did a
like
lot-
that's a different George Clinton.
he did a
I
lot
can
of
tell you,
canon
'cause there's an
pictures.
S there for a reason.
He did a lot of canon pictures. He did like Platoon Leader with Michael Dudikoff and all
Damn
these
it,
other
dude.
crazy
Oh
stuff. Yeah.
my god.
Anyways, Wild Thing. I'm so glad you liked it.
Well, I also watched Rumpelstiltskin. Don't forget. Okay.
Yeah, that one too. I gotta watch that.
Yeah.
All right, next one is Outrageous Fortune. Now I've never seen this. It was a pretty popular movie in 1987. It was in the top 20 that year.
It was.
It was.
Okay.
It did relatively. I wouldn't call it a blockbuster, but it was a hit. It made money.
This is like, I think, one of the first ones after Shelley Long left Cheers to try to become a movie star.
Yeah. So she did Money Pit the year before this with Tom Hanks.
Money Pit's pretty good, actually.
Hello Again the same year she did, and then she also did Troop Beverly Hills a couple years later in 1989.
Oh god, I forgot about True Beverly Hills.
And Bette Midler was just starting off too. She did The Rose in 1979, but then she did a couple movies in the early 80s. But it wasn't. I think the year before she did Ruthless People with Danny DeVito. And that was
Bette Midler, yes.
that was a
yes.
huge hit. Bette Midler, yeah, that was a huge hit. So now so both of them were rising to be like major stars in mainstream movies. And I've actually heard of the
They are both people who got famous other than movies.
Right.
Shelley Long got famous on TV.
And she was
Bette
music.
Midler was a singer.
and Broadway and music,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
So, but Bette Midler and Shelley Long. So there was, and I don't know if it was them or their agents, but they were fighting to get the first billing. They're equally billed. But on some posters, it says Bette Midler and Shelley Long, and Bette Midler's on the left. So, on other posters in other regions, they switched it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Now,
we can only really see.
Now,
the
when
one
we
on
watched,
here.
Bette on the poster, it says that we're looking at, it says Bette Midler's on the left. Now, when we saw the movie, Shelley Long is first, and then it's Bette Midler.
I mean, you also meet
See
Shelley Long first.
True. Anyways, so this is directed by Arthur Hiller. Arthur Hiller, he was at one time he was the president of the Academy.
There's a lot of people that
but he
you
wrote.
look it up, that
He
you'd
wrote.
be surprised they were.
Yeah,
present.
he wrote Love Story, or he directed Love Story.
Oh,
Which
okay.
is nominated for Best Picture. He did a lot of. I think he did a couple movies with Gene Wilder. He did Silver Streak.
I'm trying to see what the rating on this movie was.
This was R.
Yeah, I assume there was a lot of F-bombs in there.
Yeah.
But this is a pre-time where they had rules for that kind of shit. They had to literally just rate each movie separately.
The Hospital, The In-Laws. He did.
I might have seen The In-Laws.
See No Evil, Hear No Evil. He did Taking Care of Business.
I know I've seen See No Hear Evil.
Carpool was one of his last films, which is a terrible movie with Tom Arnold and David Paymer.
I don't know Carpool.
Oh, it's not good.
National Lampoon's Pucked? That sounds like some hockey bullshit.
This movie is kind of like a buddy kind of comedy, adventure,
Yes.
whatever. And Shelley Long is a struggling actress. And you see her right away. It shows her like doing like different theater exercises. She's taking fencing classes, all these
Yes.
things, ballet.
They telegraph two things in this part.
Yeah.
The fencing and the jump.
Oh yeah. That's right. Bette Midler. She's just kind of. What is she?
She's a porn actress.
Oh,
Yeah, did you miss that?
I must
They
have-
really only barely reference it.
Yeah.
But she did talk about.
She
I
did
was,
a
I was, I
adult
was in a
film.
movie,
Yeah.
and then it
Yes.
slowly gets figured out that movie was just a
Right.
porn. Okay.
But she kind of just brashly shows up to use the phone, and then she's like, "Oh, what are you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're trying out to be
was-
in this theater class?"
I was somewhat confused why
She's
she
like-
jumped in there. Why?
She's like, "I'll do it too." So then
Yeah.
she goes, and then she ends up like being better than Shelley Long, or
Yes. Well, they both seem to. In order to get in this class, you
Yeah.
have to do an audition. They skip past the audition into a scene where they're both
Right.
in the class. And I'm like, I think the audition was, do you have $5,000? There's your
Yeah,
audition.
that's what I thought it was, but it looks
But
like
actually, Bette Midler got in
scholarship
for free.
scholarship.
She got in
yeah,
for free.
because she just impressed the guy.
Yep.
Played by Robert Prosky. Peter Coyote plays a mysterious man, then meets Shelley Long, and they end up having a hot sex affair. But then you find out, like, just maybe 15 minutes later, like, oh, he's also banging Bette Midler.
Yes,
And you're like, holy
he's
shit.
banging them both.
Right.
I'm sorry, body bumping them both. Okay.
Body bump. So Bette Midler and Shelley Long. Okay, no, so Shelley Long.
There's a relatively explicit couple of like sex scenes between him and.
I was
Shelley
pretty
Long,
impressed
actually.
with that. That was pretty cool that they do that. I don't know about you, but I'm going to talk about this scene, and it was
Okay.
probably my favorite part of the movie because I did not see it coming. So
The
Shelley,
explosion.
holy shit! So
Yeah.
Shelley Long and Peter Coyote in the
I didn't
car,
see it coming either,
and then
right.
Peter Coyote gets out of the car. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get some flowers. He's like, I don't need any more flowers. I'm going to get you flowers. He walks into the shop, and boom, the whole fucking place explodes. I was like, holy
it's
shit.
It's a legit explosion.
I mean, it was big, and I'm like, I did not see that coming. That generally shocked me. I was like, holy shit.
So this is the weird thing about this movie.
Yeah.
I was starting to get kind of bored.
Okay.
And then that happened, and I'm like, oh, this movie's fucking different. This movie's cool. But also, I saw the poster, and I'm like, in the poster, this movie is going to be an action movie.
Well, because they're hanging from a cliff on the poster.
But this is like a half hour in the movie, and nothing like that,
well,
even
boom.
close to like that had happened.
Well, then what happens at the morgue, both Shelley Long and Bette Midler show up, and then they start fighting and stuff like that.
Yes.
But then they realize the person that they got, the corpse, that's not Peter Coyote, because his dick is not the same size.
They like
then it's a needle dick.
They get into a fight.
Yeah.
In the morgue, and they knock the sheet off the guy.
Yep. And then they're like,
and here's the thing: the guy was actively telling Shelley Long, "You don't need to actually look at him. We have his ID, and he's unrecognizable."
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
He's like all burned up. But
I guess his dick
is not unrecognizable.
Apparently.
He was very well hung, and that corpse is not. They're going to literally never explain how that happened.
No,
okay?
of course not. So it ends up going, long story short, they go on like a misadventure of trying to find out where he is. You find out that he's a double agent, and people are after him, like the good guys and the bad guys are after him, and then when they actually catch up to Peter Coyote, he tries to kill them because he's like, fuck, you know who I am, and so he starts going after them. So it goes into this big confrontation with him.
Actually, they caught him a lot faster than I expected.
Yeah.
I thought they wouldn't get him until the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, no, they catch him, and I'm like, there's like 40 minutes left of this fucking movie.
So I will say, I thought the first hour of the movie, the first 2/3, I was digging it.
I think we're gonna have a very similar review.
Soon as like the last 25 minutes, George Carlin shows up.
Yes.
And he plays this hippie
and he
guy.
He literally has like third billing in this movie. Third or fourth. And I'm like, and we're like an hour into this. I'm like, oh wait, isn't George Carlin in this movie?
So he shows up.
I saw him in the credits.
And I didn't like him in this movie. I did not like his character. I didn't like his performance.
I didn't
He plays
utterly hate him. He is.
I didn't hate him, but I didn't like him.
For a second, I thought he was in red face, and then he actively says he's not Native American.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
But he is kind of using this.
Yeah.
He's not a good human being. Okay.
No.
I don't think I hated him as much as you did. I really hated like the last 15 minutes.
Okay.
Because it is some of the worst film shit I've ever fucking seen.
Oh.
Okay.
The action stuff?
The final action stuff.
Yeah, when they're like by the cliffs.
And she has to jump, and I'm like,
on the rocks.
This is fucking awful.
No.
Okay?
No,
this is some of the worst. Just make a person jump. That's all you gotta fucking do.
No, I was really disappointed because I was really digging it, and so I've seen Bette Midler in a lot of stuff, and Shelley Long, I remember, on Cheers and stuff. I really like Shelley Long in this movie.
Weird, because I preferred Bette Midler by a mile.
I thought Shelley Long. I probably like Bette Midler's character better, but I really liked the timing of Shelley Long's performance. Like, just a lot of the stuff that she would say and do, and just her reactions. Like, when Bette Midler's in the acting class and doing stuff, and it cuts to Shelley Long's, like, reaction to that, cracked me up. Like, I really liked her facial expressions. I was really impressed with her performance. I'm like, I wish she made more movies, actually. Like, she kept going. I thought she was kind of fun.
I mean, boy.
Bette Midler, and they were fun together. I thought they were fun together.
Her character in this was, for a lot of it, was very similar to Cheers.
Yeah.
So Diane,
I can see that.
That's her name, Diane in Cheers. And I'm like, I just wanted to be somebody else. Now, granted, at some point, she tries to use her acting ability to act like a cop.
I thought that was funny. Some of that was funny. She was like, hey, get the fuck here. Hey, nice buns.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of okay. But it was just one of those things where I'm like, it was weird in that scene where Bette Midler was kind of like off-put by it, and I'm like, his character is never off-put by anything. Okay?
I don't know
but they get to be like best friends by the end of the movie.
Of course.
Like that.
The one thing that did crack me up when towards the last half of the movie, the last funny thing that I thought was funny was when they go to the bad neighborhood. Oh, there's black people here. Look out!
I do remember there was a funny line there.
But it
was weird because she goes, I haven't seen Shelley Long's like, I haven't seen a white person in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And Bette Midler goes one right there. Oh, they got him.
That was funny. No, the part that cracked me up was when they're in the hallway and they're like, we're gonna get mugged and raped here. And then the kid shows up. She's like, "Oh, so much for being raped." Because it's a little kid. I'm like, okay, that was. It's. Not in good taste, but it was
not
funny.
Not good taste. There is some legit it's the stuff that's wrong. Even those two lines are Bette Midler lines.
Yeah,
And I
she was
thought they
good.
were
She was-
delivered with rock solid perfection.
she's good. I liked her. I actually liked Peter Coyote in the movie.
I didn't hate him.
No, he's a good actor.
He really legit before the explosion.
Yeah.
Seems like because you mostly just see him in Shelley.
Yeah.
Okay. He seems like a legit nice guy.
Oh, I knew something was going to happen. I was waiting for something.
Mostly from it's called Outrageous Fortune, okay? It's like this movie that looks like these two people fall in love and Shelley Long's a shitty at acting.
Yeah.
It has to go somewhere else, okay?
Yeah, I was waiting for it. The other person, I don't know if you noticed, but Christopher McDonald, who's Shooter McGavin, he's in the very beginning of the movie.
I saw Shooter McGavin in this movie.
I was like, yes, there
Shooter
he is.
McGavin's got to be in all the fucking episodes.
Wasn't he in? He was in a couple.
He was in Breakin'.
That's right.
That's
he was
the
in
only
Breakin'.
one. I think that's
all
the
right.
only one we've seen him in so far.
Well, hopefully we'll get some more. But anyways,
He's
I'm
a working actor. He did stuff.
I'm gonna give the movie a 2.5 because I like the first 2/3 of the film, and I did like Bette Midler and Shelley Long. I thought they were both really good in the movie, and I just wish the material would have carried it through the second half of the movie. And I just didn't care for the George Carlin stuff. It was just another character we didn't need at this point.
Yeah,
When
it
they
is weird.
introduced
He
this whole
shows
new
up
character,
and then he's like a fully big character, and he's like in the epilogue where
Yeah.
now they're like performing Hamlet
Yeah.
together.
You know,
and I'm like, wow,
that's-
it's literally is that last 10 minutes is just so
And Arthur-
fucking stupid and awful.
And Arthur Hiller kind of did the same thing with Silver Streak. Because Silver Streak, they make it look like that Richard Pryor's he doesn't show up in the movie for like an hour and 10 minutes into the movie.
Really, he doesn't?
No.
I don't remember that at all.
No,
Okay.
and so that's kind of the same thing where it's just like, and he's only in the movie for like 20 minutes, and you're like, oh, I guess he's the main. Is he supposed to be the main?
Because it's weird. At the end of this, they're doing Hamlet, and
He's there, yeah.
and now George Carlin is one of their best friends, and I'm like, they literally just met him, and George Carlin kind of treated him like shit.
Yeah.
Almost constantly. Okay.
So what would you give this?
I agree. The first half of this,
Yeah.
and actually, I would actually say the first half of the stuff that happens after the explosion.
Yes.
Is like, this is legit. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I know stuff's going to happen,
Yeah.
but I have no idea who this guy was.
Yeah.
They're going to figure it out. Once that shit gets revealed, and he turns out to be like next level terrorist monster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like
And stuff like that.
There's
I'm
a
like,
good section of the movie that reminded me a little bit of Midnight Run,
Yes,
which is one
yes,
I love
yeah,
that movie.
yeah.
Not as good as that,
No,
but it was
no,
like
no,
okay, it's
it's
kind
not
of like
good.
doing Midnight Run type of stuff.
Yeah.
but then
two people who, well, and weirdly in Midnight Run, I would never call them best friends by the end. In this,
I don't know. Well, I guess I wouldn't
think
call them best friends.
they tolerate each other more.
They have
at the
respect
end.
for each other.
But in this,
Yeah.
they are legitimately
Best friends.
Best friends forever. BFFs. Let's go. Let's go be in Hamlet because Shelley Long. One of her things she wants to play Hamlet
So
and stuff. No. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One actually. The Russian guy is a fun character, so I would agree with 2.5. Just
Okay.
because I think it's a solid 3-star movie, and then it turns into a solid 1.5 to 2-star movie.
I agree. Yep. I think so too. I agreement on that one. Starship is our next movie that we went to go see. Like I said, director Roger Christian, who did.
This movie.
Oh.
It hurts to think about this movie.
So I had a really hard time when I was watching this movie trying to figure out what the hell it was about.
I have no idea what the plot of this movie is.
So
I watched the entirety of it.
Oh, yeah, we
I
did,
have
we did.
no idea what the fuck happened in
so
this movie.
it was kind
okay?
of like. So it takes place on like this planet, and it's like a mining planet. And then at the beginning of the movie, you see like people like striking, and then there's like terrorist attacks, bombings, and
It's
that.
called Starship.
Yeah.
I think there's a starship
There
in
is,
the movie
there is,
at
there
the
is.
end of the movie. Okay?
Well, they show at the beginning of the movie there's a
think-
starship.
I
There's-
think
there's
the
starships
plot
there.
involves a starship. They're trying to get on
They're
it.
well, that's
but
what they're
they
trying
do
to
not
do.
make this fucking clear.
Well, that's
okay?
what. So I think some of the rebels or whatever they're trying to leave and get on the starship to get out and escape the
There
planet.
were 2 theaters showing this movie. If I
Yeah,
remember,
yeah.
Which makes no sense to me.
No. It was. I will say this, and I will say 1 or 2 nice things, and that's all I'm going to say. So.
Wow, you're going to say 2 more nice things than I am.
Yeah. I actually thought the model of the actual spaceship, because I like practical effects.
Okay.
I like practical effects.
There's actually some interesting That and, well, at one point they're in like a truck, which is legit just a truck. But
So-
I'm like, that truck's fucking amazing.
No,
I want to drive around
so
that truck.
it's like it looks like a big fucking Tonka truck,
But
like
it's real.
like a dump. Those big
It's a real
yellow-
deal,
and
and it drives right over
and-
a fucking pickup truck and doesn't even fucking flinch.
that was awesome.
I legit was like, holy shit,
the bounty-
this movie's a half star because it just got bumped up
So
from zero.
so there's a bounty hunter that's trying to go in after Lorca is the main guy.
Lorca.
Deep Roy plays Grid, who is the
Yeah.
creepy robot whose mouth does not move,
Oh,
and it's
God.
just kind of
He's one of
he kind of looks like that
He's
the
a
Buck
model of
Rogers that
robot.
beep 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 beep
yeah,
guy a little bit.
Yeah, he looks like Twinkie.
I can't remember
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. He kind of looks like that robot.
Yeah.
And he's just one of a obsolete model of robot.
Yes.
Which is like a smaller robot than all the other
And
ones.
then the other
which
robots
are-
come in, they're
which
like-
are just guys.
Yeah.
Okay, the robots are just guys without emotion. Okay.
So if our description of the film is like, man, these guys don't know how to describe the movie, that's because you watch the movie and
don't
fucking
know
tell
what
me
the
what
fuck
it is.
happened in this
no,
movie.
It's like it starts off with like that terrorist attack, and then there's like they go to like some club, and then they show like a music video, and then like a music video of music.
Oh yeah, the music in this is by Tony Banks of Genesis.
Yeah.
It's in the credits.
It's not good.
This movie is terrible.
The
The sound is
sound-
terrible.
the sound-
Peter
music's
Gabriel
not
shows
good.
up for one scene and
yeah,
has like a
yeah.
dancing, singing
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, it's Tony Banks of Genesis. And then it's just shitty synthesizer garbage.
It's not good.
Terrible the entire way through. And then
'Cause Total
Peter
did the
Gabriel
music-
shows up and is just other synthesizer
Yeah.
synthesizer
Well,
garbage, and he's like singing.
I wish
and
they'd had
dancing, and I'm
Total,
like,
'cause-
what the fuck is he doing in this movie?
Toto did the music for Dune, which is awesome. The 1984 Dune.
Yeah, okay.
And I wish they would have done this because that would have
Oh,
been great.
God, that didn't
and
make any
and so
sense
it's
to
kind
me.
of like post-apocalyptic stuff going on. But the bounty hunter's trying to go after Lorca, and I thought there was some legitimately cool stunts of like him hanging from the that big truck.
I can't even remember.
And
I'm
I thought
so,
I thought that was kind of cool because you know the big truck before when it's going over and Lorca's on the back of it and he's trying to get to the front to like battle the guy and he's like hanging from the from the truck and that actually from a chain that was actually like okay that's a legit cool stunt.
Here's the thing: it might be cool if I had any idea what the fuck was happening and
No.
why it was
Well,
happening.
because-
now,
yeah.
I mean, as much as I sit here and I say that truck was cool, it's mostly because that truck was legitimately fucking huge and cool.
It was like 5
I want
stories
to see
tall.
that
It was
in every
huge.
fucking
It was
movie.
huge.
Okay,
Yeah.
every movie should just say those trucks are real.
So-
Get a fucking truck.
Then they go to the end of the movie. They're on the starship, and then they're attacked by a bunch of other robot shit going on.
A second.
Grid isn't Grid like taken over? Like
Okay, I have it written down.
I couldn't remember if does he
The
get
Nissan 4000 is the model
Right.
of robot that Deep Roy is playing. Nissan, they all have very thick Australian accents.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know if they're saying something else and it just sounds like Nissan to me, or if he's literally just a fucking car that got turned into a robot. Okay, I don't understand.
Well, and then they're what was the robot? I was so confused at the end of the movie. That the robot that was killing the girl. Was that like? Did he like turn bad and then they flick the switch and now he's good? Like,
okay, what happens to our Nissan 4000?
Yeah.
They do something so you can see a little scar on his forehead.
oh, that's right.
And then he gets in a fight with another Nissan, and they try to use some lighting so you don't know which one is showing up
my
later.
God,
And I'm
that's
like,
it.
we all know it's the good one.
So-
you fucking doofuses. And the only way to tell is a tiny little dot in his forehead because they had to do like, I don't know, some type of operation. to
Yeah,
him.
this was definitely an incoherent film because there's like a scene in the
I
movie when they were at this when they were at the club and then the bad guys are raiding it and all of a sudden it shows like Lorca and one of the girls making out and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And like I didn't know what was
fact that
going
the
on.
movie is also called Lorca and the Outlaws, I'm like, who are the fucking outlaws?
Who the fuck is Lorca? Because you don't
Lorca
even get to
is
know
that
him.
guy.
No,
Is
but
that-
you don't
he's
get
the
the
name. He's
So his name's by John.
technically the main character.
So it's his name is an actor played by John Tarrant. There's a reason why you can't click on his Wikipedia because he doesn't have a link.
Yeah, well, okay.
He's
we're,
not
we're
good.
sitting here
He's
on
not good.
Wikipedia. The cover of that
Yeah.
tape is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
That is meaningless
The
nonsense.
Adventure of a Million Lifetimes.
Nothing.
Is
what
what
the
it says.
fuck does that even mean? I might have seen this sitting on
Well,
a shelf.
The big
But
problem.
never fucking rented it.
I know.
Thank
I've seen
God.
it on the
I
shelf
would've-
for sure.
I would have killed myself.
So one of the things that I have my big problem with the movie because obviously we're talking about Wild Thing and stuff. We like shitty movies.
Oh yeah.
This
This is the worst kind of shitty movie.
it's just boring. Boring.
It's so
Yeah.
boring.
I was bored through this whole movie. It is so boring and incoherent. I couldn't understand what was going on. And
it starts right off, and they don't explain shit.
I mean, they even have a text of stuff, but that didn't tell you anything.
There's an opening thing, and you still don't know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah, this was a really hard movie to watch. The
only reason I like the truck thing is because I was just trying to find anything.
Yeah, me too.
To not want to kill myself.
Me too.
And I'm like, oh, finally, that truck's cool looking. And then the truck's gone.
And when I went over that car, it was pretty fucking cool.
Oh, that was amazing. Because they had stole some pickup truck.
Yeah.
And it was a shitty rundown one that kind of looks like the shitty rundown pickup truck from T2. Okay?
So, yeah, this was...
they just run it over. It's
this
awesome.
was originally called Lorca and the Outlaws, and it was released in 1984 in Australia. Yeah. So it didn't come here until April of 87.
God, how the fuck did they sell this to American distributors?
But surprise, Roger Christian directed this, who directed Battlefield Earth, and that is also a horrible, horrible film.
It's horrible. With
this one, I could probably...
Here's the thing.
I could probably recommend that more because you could laugh at that one a little more.
I saw that in the fucking theater.
Oh, me too. Me too.
I'm a lunatic.
Oh, I didn't know. I saw it. We're both lunatics.
I saw it in the fucking theater.
My brother saw it.
And it is fucking terrible.
It's terrible. We laughed a lot in that movie.
Dutch Angles the movie, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
So I laughed a lot in that movie. I did not laugh a lot in this one.
I could watch if I watched Battlefield right now, we would rip on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Watching this, you can't rip on it because you're just baffled.
It's just boring.
Talking makes you just confused. My brain doesn't work anymore from watching this movie.
Yeah, it's really poor. I'm probably giving it too high, but it's a 1 star because I like the
give it a half.
Practical effects and the truck.
That truck was it. Okay? But this movie,
it's hard to watch.
The truck happens like halfway through. Yeah. And I'm like, this is the most boring movie I've ever fucking watched.
It's
and I've watched
really boring. And it's up there.
And we watched that fucking television thing.
Tunnel
Vision, which is...
that was really bad, too.
That was an hour and 10 minutes. That felt like 6 hours.
Yeah. This was 84 minutes.
This was 84 minutes, and I feel like I died and was resurrected for an entire new lifetime while watching it. Because it was so fucking boring.
This is, really bad. And what I say this a lot, a movie can be good, it can be bad, but what it shouldn't be is boring.
It shouldn't be boring.
This is what it is. This was boring. It was worse than bad.
Here's the thing.
Boring.
I have sat here and screamed and given him 0-star things.
Yeah.
But that's because they morally offend me, okay? But I wasn't bored because I was too enraged while watching those. This thing, for all I know, this movie is a pro-Nazi movie, but it's so fucking badly made I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Okay?
It was,
I have no clue what
really
ever happened to this fucking movie.
I was really hoping it would... So the reason why we picked this, because we were hoping it was going to be a really, holy shit, this is going to be a shitty B movie we're going to make fun of and laugh at.
Starship. It's in 2 theaters.
It was just boring.
It's just boring.
Yeah.
But I know I've seen that cover.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. God, it's a fucking ripoff.
Next is Blind Date. Blake Edwards.
Yep.
Bruce Willis. Kim Basinger is actually first billed. Kim Basinger.
Yes. Well, she had been in Never Say Never Again and stuff. So
she was Never Say Never Again. She just did a movie with Richard Gere called No Mercy.
Okay.
Oh, 9.5 Weeks was the year before too.
Oh, was it?
That's the big sex movie with Mickey Rourke when she's
I might have seen this
sex
before.
with food.
I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
I might have in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because I liked Moonlighting, and I would have probably... Because I'm going to legit say the only reason I saw Die Hard was Bruce Willis. I like Bruce Willis. Let's go see that. And then I walked out and I'm like, well, that movie is the fucking best movie I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. This movie, I would have not walked out and said that.
Yeah, so I'm a big Blake Edwards fan, but I don't like all of his movies. He made Operation Petticoat that we watched, and I liked it a little more than you did.
I have seen some.
She did the Pink Panther films.
Yes.
So and most of those are pretty fun. Not Son of the Pink Panther, but all the.
Well, that's because it hasn't got.
Or Trail of the Pink Panther.
Got the real Pink Panther in it.
Right.
Although he's not called the Pink Panther. We all call him Pink Panther, but Pink Panther is
and then
the
Curse
thing
of the
they're
Pink
chasing.
Panther was also not.
They just got stuck with that name, just like Glass Onion. It has to say it's a Knives Out movie, even though there's no fucking Knives Out movie.
So, but 10 is, I think, a masterpiece with Dudley Moore. I think it's really good.
I know I've seen it. I haven't seen it.
It's
so long.
Awesome. And so
you just love Dudley Moore.
Yeah, and I like The Great Race. He did The Great Race in 1965. He is really good at sight gag, like pratfalls and stuff like that. And I will say this before I get into it: there's some pratfalls in this that made me laugh. He's good at staging that stuff. Not talking about the plot. I'm talking about staging physical comedy. Blake Edwards is he's really good at it.
You warned me that I wasn't going to like this movie because you know of my.
I had a feeling. No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it yet.
Movies,
but I had a feeling
you're supposed to like people who are monsters.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
I figured that you weren't gonna like this. That's why I'm like, do you want to watch this? I don't know if you're gonna like it. Okay, so Bruce Willis plays this guy who works at was it advertising? Was it a firm? I don't know.
They don't really
He's a
make it clear.
businessman. Whatever.
He's a guy with a job.
He's a businessman. He wears a suit.
He works in an office.
Right. He wants to go to his boss's big banquet. He got to bring a date. So he talks to his brother, played by Phil Hartman.
Yes.
The late Phil Hartman. He's all right in this.
It's just like before he became
Phil Hartman.
Anybody knew who the fuck he was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he co-wrote Pee-wee's Big Adventure with Paul Rubens in 1985, 2 years earlier.
It's a better movie.
Oh, I love that movie, yeah. So, but anyways, he goes, hey, there's this girl, her name's Nadia, she's awesome. The only thing is don't get her drunk.
Yes.
Don't get her drunk.
Don't get her drunk because she gets crazy when she's drunk.
Well,
so
he emphasizes that.
Phil Hartman says that in such a way with a wink and say, that means get her drunk, buddy. Okay?
Yeah.
She'll fuck you like crazy.
She'll
body bump like crazy.
Right. What happens is they go out and it seem to be going well on this date and she's fine, but then he's like, hey, things are going good. Let's go get some champagne.
Well,
and I'm like,
he brings her to the best date I would have ever imagined. He's like, a friend of his is like a professional guitarist.
Oh yeah,
and he brings her there, and I'm like, holy shit.
Oh, in the
he
studio.
Doesn't have to get her drunk. She's gonna fucking blow you right now. This is the best date I've ever fucking imagined.
But then he gets the champagne and he goes, and after one glass, she's already loopy. Yeah. And then she starts just speaking out, all over the place and
there's a stage of her crazy where she just literally says it like it is.
Yeah.
And I was loving that stage of her. But it gets to another stage.
Yes, okay? It does. So they get to the banquet and things go out of control and she's embarrassing him and ripping pockets off of everybody.
Yes, the pocket ripping thing is actually kind of rather amusing.
But what happens? He ends up getting fired. But then there's John Larroquette plays her ex.
Yeah,
I actually really liked him in this movie. He's funny.
He's John Larroquette. I don't hate John Larroquette.
Oh, he's pretty good in this.
But he's
probably my favorite performance actually in the movie.
He has the most pratfally things that happen.
Oh my god, yeah.
Okay.
So, but anyways, because he shows up and he's
a psycho.
Oh yeah, he shows up and he's like, oh hey, nice to meet you. They're at this art gallery. He's like, oh yeah, oh cool. And he starts
ex-boyfriend.
He's like,
yeah, who stalks her.
Yeah, but then he's just like, oh nice to meet you. He's to Bruce Willis like, oh you're Walter. Okay, nice to meet you, Walter. I'm gonna kill you. And he's literally right off the bait. So the whole movie, he's kind of chasing him around and stalking him through the movie. So they have a bunch of interactions with him. And I thought that stuff was amusing and fun. It had some really fun pratfalls, I thought. Where the movie loses me
is when it turns into a different movie.
The last third of the film. The last third of the film.
It's a different movie all of a sudden. What the fuck happened to this movie?
All of a sudden, Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger gets him out, but then John Larroquette,
she has to agree to John Larroquette to marry him, so he gets Bruce Willis off of the assault charge, which the assault charge is against John Larroquette. I'm pretty sure you can't have the guy you assaulted as your defense lawyer.
Because John Larroquette's dad was the judge anyway. That was funny.
Yeah. When he's saying stuff and I'm like, what the fuck? And you can tell.
Bye, Dad.
And Kit's voice. It's Kit's voice again. The voice of Kit. His dad.
That was Kit.
That was the voice of Kit.
He was in another movie.
He was in that New York...
Because I remember you said that before.
Clowns. 1,000 Clowns.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was the voice. Yes, he was in that too.
Yeah.
But in this, they hate each other.
Yeah.
And Larroquette's talking to him, and then when he finally convinces him, I'm like, none of this makes any sense. There's no way he could have convinced him. He goes, thanks, Dad. And I'm like, explained. His dad hates him.
So now John Larroquette and Kim Basinger are going to get married. And this is where it was weird, because Bruce Willis is like, okay, I'm done with her. But all of a sudden, he's there, and now he's going to try to stop the wedding. I'm like, I didn't see any...
The whole last half of it...
I didn't see any scene of him wanting to get back with Kim Basinger anyways, because...
No.
And so,
she made his life a miserable hell.
And he said that. He's like, I'm done with her.
Well, that's the weird stuff. There's the point
that didn't make
where he
any
gets
sense
her
to
drunk,
me.
She ruins his career because his career was working with pieces of shit.
Yeah,
and she tells them all that they're all fucking pieces of garbage.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, love it.
Yeah, no, that was kind of funny. Yeah.
Then when they leave, Larroquette tries to kill him six times.
Yeah.
He then, Bruce Willis's character completely changes to just being his own version of a piece of shit drunken asshole who's trying to ruin her life. And I'm like, this is just vengeance assholery. You literally got her drunk and you were told not to.
Yeah.
You were not wrong.
When
I hated him.
When I was watching the movie,
hate her,
no,
which I expected to.
When I was watching the movie, though, like he was just like giving her booze, and then he's getting pissed that he was fucking warned. And he's getting mad at her for. I'm like, dude, it is your fucking fault.
Yeah,
your fault. I have no sympathy for Bruce Willis.
Don't worry, because after the movie changes, he intentionally boozes her again to try to end the wedding.
Yeah, that was terrible. Really
it's
bad.
Like, oh my god, he sends her candy because they had to set this up earlier. She just eats candy. I will eat candy.
And then they jump in a
candy is full of bourbon. They said,
yeah.
And I'm like, that was a bottle of wine right there. That wasn't fucking bourbon.
Yo.
You're shitty at movies. Okay?
And then at the end of the wedding. The wedding doesn't happen. They jump in a pool and they kiss, and then they're on a beach, and that's over. That's
it.
Because
because she does all this because she legitimately loves him now after the one date.
I will say this, especially early in the first half, Blake Edwards' direction, like he's a really good filmmaker. There's a scene in the movie,
There's a lot of weird one-ers in this.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Tons of them.
One takes in the movie, and the one in particular I was really impressed with was when he's talking to his like asshole partner guy who's talking about like, oh, I banged this one lady. And and
that was when I realized this has all been one thing.
Yeah, the camera follows them. They go into the elevator. It goes down to another floor. It goes out.
I'm like, oh.
It reminded me
of
a
little bit of a flex.
Well, it reminded me.
I'm fine with that.
Oh, I like that. It reminded me of another film with Bruce Willis in it, directed by Brian De Palma, Behind Fire of the Vanities.
Oh.
There's the first 3 minutes of that movie is one take. Oh. And the shot was very similar to this, actually.
I would say there's like a whole bunch of times in this where it's like 1 or 2 minute wonders.
I would say there's at least half a dozen, at least.
There's one of them where Bruce Willis, you see him drive up in a car, park his car, get out, talk to his brother for a few minutes, he gets back in the car and drives away. And I'm like, I don't think we needed to see the car stuff, but it was one big wonder.
No, so I really like the direction. It was the second half of the writing that ruined the movie for me. And I just didn't like Bruce Willis's character. Bruce Willis is fine in the movie.
Bruce Willis is as good as... I actually was like, I think he's legitimately is kind of tired because he's a busy boy at this point. Because he's on a hit show. Plus he's trying to do this.
I mean, this is his first movie. He's doing a fine job. It's his character that's written... Not written well. It's not him. It's not Bruce Willis.
It doesn't make that much sense when he converts and he's just running around like a crazy person.
No, but I like John Larroquette. There's that running gag of him running into different buildings. He runs into the paint place. Oh yeah. He runs into
those are pretty funny. There's actually a funny thing where he knows that she has gone into like discotheque, which is next door, and he's sitting there trying to like look in the ladies' room to see if she's in there, and the bouncer shows up and goes, I wasn't like trying to do anything, I'm just trying to see if she's in there, and then she shows up behind her, she's right here, never mind. please don't break my arms and legs.
No, so I wish it was better.
I do wish there is some funny stuff
because I think there's potential for it, so I'm giving it a 2 out of 4 because I legitimately liked a lot of the stuff in the first half, and Blake Edwards I also like, even though when it changed, he kind of what he did in the movie A Shot in the Dark, the second Pink Panther movie, where you have all these running around the houses, switching to different rooms, and people going in and out of the house.
Yes,
like some of that stuff was kind of funny.
Well, some of that.
There's going into people's bedrooms
in the second movie. There's some of that stuff.
It totally changes.
Where he's like trying to break in. He's trying to rescue her, but he also has already sent her candy.
Oh, the dog named Rambo.
And the dog named Rambo, which is kind of okay, which is not terrible, because that dog shows up and he's like, I go fucking run. He gets in the pool and he's hiding his stuff. And I'm like, I wish I could like this, but it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, no.
Because I did not have any believability that he would give one red shit about her.
No, I agree.
Because she fucking literally ruined his life. But also, it was 100% his fault anyway. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know.
One more
you
thing.
Said 2 stars?
2 stars. But one more thing I got to mention.
Okay. Is this going to be a thing that's going to reduce my stars?
No, maybe make it go up. The first thing that you hear, the first joke in the movie, is a radio commercial. And Bruce Willis is getting ready. He's like shaving.
I'm trying to remember.
And you hear the radio commercial, and it's going like, you want a car alarm? Try the James Brown. Ha! Ha! Ha!
I don't remember.
You don't remember that? Oh my god! It's a radio commercial of like a James Brown alarm going, "Hoo! Ow! Feel good! Ow!" And I'm like,
don't remember it for some reason.
It was just kind of out of character for this movie, but I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I mean, all the weird stuff where he drives into buildings feels out of character to me.
Yeah,
it just is like that's a whole different thing in the movie. But it does happen like literally like 5 times. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, and he slowly gets paint on him and shit, and the car gets more fucked up. But he's like super rich because he's a fucking like lawyer.
I did really
his dad is.
I
the
did
judge.
really like Larroquette.
Huh?
I did really like John Larroquette.
He's yeah. He is all the way to just a fucking piece of shit monster.
Yeah.
But also, he's supposed to be a piece of shit monster.
Yeah.
The thing
Bruce Willis,
the thing that bothers me about movies, obviously, when people are piece of shit monsters,
and they're supposed to be.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, fucking burn him to the ground.
Did not like it. So I'm a 2
stars. Sounds pretty good.
Okay, cool.
2 stars. Man, 1.5. Fuck you.
Burglar. Next movie. This is the one that you're like, we gotta see Burglar.
Here's the thing.
You seen it?
I had seen Burglar before.
I've never seen it.
I didn't remember a fucking thing until that chase.
Oh.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
At the end?
Okay, I've seen this movie.
I remember the trailer, but... So, this was actually written for a man.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
It makes...
I think it makes sense.
It doesn't.
I mean, they did rewrite it. They did rewrite it for Whoopi Goldberg.
Well, they just rewrote it for her. They didn't care about the gender.
Not really. I mean, they got a couple things in there, but that's about it. But yeah, Bernie, so she is San Francisco, and she's a burglar, and she's really good at it. It starts off with her, like, disguised as, like, an old lady, and she, like, goes into this house, and she has a fence, and the fence is G.W. Bailey, who's the main, like, police captain in the Police Academy movies. Who's Hugh Wilson, who directed the first Police Academy, directed this. So it's the same director of the first Police Academy.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I think he brought G.W. Bailey. He also directed Rustler's Rhapsody.
Does he always have to play a cop?
No, he's the bad guy in Rustler's Rhapsody with Tom Berenger. Did you ever see that? It's a spoof western. It's all right. But G.W. Bailey's in there, and then you got Bobcat Goldthwait plays her partner.
He's not in it that much,
but
he's in it a little bit. But he is full Bobcat when he's in it.
He is,
okay.
And I am convinced he is only in it because let's put Bobcat Goldthwait in this.
Bobcat and Whoopi are legit friends.
Yeah,
I did.
I think so. No, I think they are actually.
Those people are actually friends.
No, they are. He doesn't really do a whole lot. They say partner, but he doesn't really help her.
He's best friend.
They
basically just say best friend.
Right. And so, anyways, she gets hired by Leslie Ann Warren, who's the dentist, to rob her husband or ex-husband.
Her ex-husband, or I don't know, separated husband.
Yeah. Anyway, so she goes in there and she but he comes home while she's in the middle of the robbery, and she hides, and the dude comes in with a lady, and they do it. And they're having sex, and she's in there going, great, I'm stuck in here.
I mean, she's like, I wish I knew this guy's number.
Yeah,
that's like the woman seems to legit super enjoy herself.
Yeah.
Okay?
But then a guy comes in and murders him.
It's one of the first weird things because she seems to know that he's about to be murdered well before I ever imagined he was going to be murdered. She's got this look on her face of real concern, and I'm like, this sounds like every other thing that's happened outside.
Right. Well, then it seems like maybe Leslie Ann Warren put it up to it because she's just like, oh, the burglar did it, and it's kind of like saying, so now there's
a lot of false stuff in this movie.
And
where
then,
you're like, I don't know what's
and then there's
happen.
2 detectives on the case who legitimately were my 2 favorite people.
Oh, they are by far the best characters in this movie.
And
we have Whoopi fucking Goldberg, who isn't actually that terrible in this, but her
character's not good.
No, but she's nothing compared to.
I like Whoopi Goldberg. Goldberg's fine.
Yeah, Goldberg's.
The 2 detectives are played by Ann DeSalvo and John Goodman.
Yeah,
and John Goodman is not a big role.
Early John.
So
Goodman.
This is the same year as Raising Arizona. So he was in Raising Arizona, and 3 years after he was the coach on Revenge of the Nerds.
That was 3 years later than
this is 3 years later than that. That was 3 years earlier.
Oh, that was earlier. I'm like, that's okay.
No, but John Goodman, like, he shows charisma like crazy. He is so funny in this.
Yeah.
Just the facial expressions. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot to do, but with what little he has, he does a lot with.
Well, John Goodman, he's good.
He's awesome. Yeah, he's probably one of my favorite actors, actually.
Yeah,
working actors. He's a great actor. So yeah, those characters are great. And then it ends up, you find out who the villain is, and G.W. Bailey's kind of, is he a bad guy? Is he helping her out? You don't really know. So it ends in like there's a big chase. There's that big, and it was really boring.
It's really boring.
I mean, it was kind of funny watching everyone fly over the hills, but
she plays possum at the end and stuff. So okay, the strengths of this movie, for plot wise, and there aren't a lot.
No.
What happens is the guy who did it is actually the guy who got murdered is bisexual.
Yeah.
Full blown.
Yep.
They do not ever like rip on him for that.
No, that
they
was cool.
find
That was
out
neat.
that he sleeps with both people. She and Bobcat find this out together. They do not ever like rip on him. They never badmouth him about that. It's just another thing in the story.
That's kind of.
And I'm like,
that's actually
not what I would expect from 87.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty surprising from like 87. You think it'd be like, oh, queer and
Now, granted, they do reveal to the murderer that they know he's gay or bi or whatever, and that he was sleeping with a man, and they're essentially just trying to get money out of him.
Yeah.
They aren't actually going to turn him in for this murder.
No.
Okay?
Yeah, that was weird.
And I'm like, huh?
So
what? What's going on?
So
now you're going to blackmail him with some anti-gay? Now, they don't really call him anti-gay.
I know, not really.
They don't really say that. They literally are just bad people who like to blackmail people. Okay?
So I was... Yeah.
She is a burglar.
Yeah.
The burglar stuff in this, the stuff where she's actually being a burglar, is the best stuff in this movie.
Yeah, when she's,
when
doing
she was
the
doing the old lady stuff.
Yeah.
Now, granted, when she has to act like she's a crazy old lady, and she tries to, and she escapes through that from the first thing, and I'm like, they don't realize there's a crazy old lady on these very private premises?
Please, what are you doing?
What?
And I also like it too when she's talking to G.W. Bailey and she's like, "Oh yes, Mass, I'll get it for you." And, that was kind of funny her doing that.
That's just because she likes to shit on him.
I also did really like.
He's a shady. He's not really a crooked cop.
I liked him in the movie
he's
too.
He's just kind of because he's willing to put people away for murder. Okay.
The one thing at the end though, like she like jumps on him at the very end of the movie, like as the movie was about, like. It's panning out like it's just going to do the end credits, and she kind of runs after G.W. Bailey, and she like topples on him and gets on top of him.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I must have been looking away because I didn't care.
It was so weird. I'm like, what is going on? And so I liked Bobcat Goldthwait. I like his.
Oh, that's right. He did backstab her, and that's where the chase comes in.
Yeah,
because they're like meeting, and then other cops show up, and she's like, "You fucking piece of shit." And she escapes through the bathroom, and then she steals a police motorcycle, and there's the only real action chase scene, which is like,
it's not good.
I think there are versions of this poster that are mostly involve her on that motorcycle.
Yes, there's two posters for it.
I remembered that watching. I'm like,
now,
oh yeah, there's a version of this thing where they advertise this as this chase, which is really bad. The chase is badly filmed. There's no flow. This movie has
really
some
generic,
really bad editing.
Yeah, it's
really terrible.
Well,
because
Hugh Wilson's not an action director, and it shows.
Well, not even just that though. When she figures out, at one point, she like goes to the dentist.
Yeah.
And the dentist shows up with her like lawyer, and the lawyer's the actual murderer. Okay. She figures that out while she's there through some real contrived bullshit about Here's Johnny. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Really contrived. And then cut to next day, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening? Is it the next day? Because she had them both at gunpoint, and there's no explanation what the fuck just happened, and now they're no longer at gunpoint, and she just let them go.
Yeah,
like, she just found out who the murderer is, okay?
Even though, like, Whoopi Goldberg and John Goodman and G.W. are talented, and they're okay in the film, I mean, they're decent, the movie is just not engaging.
It's not engaging.
The story is just...
It's badly written.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how they figured out a lot of stuff.
And it wasn't really, and there really wasn't anything really funny in the movie.
There's some stuff. Whoopi herself is Whoopi.
Oh, she's fine.
Is like when she's talking.
When she's allowed to, she's funny.
When she's allowed to whoopie it up.
Yeah.
There's a couple of times where Bobcat. It makes no sense to me why he's even doing these Bobcat things. They're like she's like in a bar and Bobcat shows up and does a full stand-up routine.
Well,
okay.
So Bobcat
about,
Goldthwait,
like package delivery.
Yeah. So
and I'm like that meant nothing.
So
what the fuck is this in the movie for?
Bobcat Goldthwait. This was right when he was Bobcat Goldthwait. Like,
yes.
He was doing the Police Academy movies. He was in Police Academy 2, 3, and 4.
He could only do that voice.
He was, because that was his stand-up shtick.
That was
so when they put him in a movie, it was because they wanted him to, kind of like Gilbert Gottfried. If they get Gilbert Gottfried, they're gonna have Gilbert Gottfried be Gilbert Gottfried, like in the Problem Child movies.
But also Gilbert Gottfried, you can just get him as a voice actor, and then he'll do his voice, but it's in a character, and you're fine with it. You could not do that with Bobcat. If Bobcat showed up and tried to do his animated voice,
he did.
With that,
he did,
but it would be terrible.
It was okay. He did. He was a small character in Hercules. He was a Hercules. He was one of James Woods' underlings.
I vaguely remember that, but he doesn't go. He doesn't have
he's
a stand-up routine.
No.
A movie where you have to sit there for 10 minutes. I'm like,
he was also
I fucking hate this.
He also did one Hot the Trot, which he starred in, and then he was also in God, what was it? One Crazy Summer with John Cusack.
Okay, I mean, yeah, he had a career, and I'm assuming he makes money now.
But every time, well,
here's the thing.
he's actually a really good filmmaker.
He's changed. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot he changed to a full filmmaking.
He's a
but
great
also,
filmmaker.
if you watch an interview with him, I'm like, oh, he can talk like a fucking human.
Yeah. So my problem with a lot of the movie was I did not like his character. His character didn't need to be in the movie.
No,
you could have just
it
taken
serves
this
no
character.
function.
It served
at the end. He's like screaming Whoopi, whatever her character's name is, Bernie.
I feel
Just
like
screaming, and I'm like, God, I fucking shut the fuck up.
I
You
feel
I
like
hate you
that
so much.
they added him in here to just be like, let's just put Bob Goldthwait in here
Yeah.
to get Bobcat fans to like him. And yeah, every time he talks, he's just doing his shtick. He's doing his routine.
I
didn't like it.
That's why I believe that Whoopi and Bobcat are friends.
They are. I know they're friends. I know they're friends.
When
at the
he's
time.
doing his shtick in that weird package delivery thing, I could see Whoopi in the background.
She was
I'm like,
laughing. Yeah.
I think she's legit enjoying what she's watching.
No, she was
But
laughing at
I
it a couple
don't
of times.
think
Yeah.
they need to show this thing to us, okay? Just let Whoopi have fun, but then never show this garbage scene to anybody.
Yeah, I did not,
okay?
and I did not like Bobcat Goldthwait in it. So that was kind of the big part for me. So I'm at a 1.5 on it because I did like John Goodman. Whoopi's fine.
Yeah, the Goodman stuff.
And I like
there's
G.W.
also
Bailey.
some weird stuff with Goodman because he has like his female partner.
Yeah.
And she tries to kick the door down, and then for some reason they've never mentioned her thing. And then later I should have kicked the door in, and I'm like,
I thought that was kind of funny. You didn't like that? I thought it was
it didn't make sense. Because Whoopi had done a successful
It
job.
actually made me
where
laugh.
That
I
was
don't know.
never going down. That door was not going down. I don't care if you're fucking goddamn Superman. That door
Right.
wasn't going anywhere. Okay. But so I'm like,
where are you?
because
on it?
mostly I was sitting there. Please, as long as they never reference anything about her being different. Or I would just want them to be partners.
Yeah.
Maybe not best friends. They were legit just people who worked together.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was the one thing I'm like, oh, that kind of pulled me down a little.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm
But-
1.5. Where are you at?
Because, I mean, most of the Goodman stuff is pretty good.
Yeah.
But you're right. Some of that Bobcat stuff, and it's legit just as a movie. It doesn't make sense and it's shitty.
It doesn't work.
Half sounds
Doesn't
pretty
work.
good.
Yeah.
I guess. I'll have to go with one.
I really wanted to like it.
I
but-
wanted to. It's Whoopi. I like
Yeah.
Whoopi. And actually, when it started off with that whole burglar thing, I'm like, I might not hate this movie.
So,
I fucking
a
hate
couple
this movie.
months later, she did a movie called Fatal Beauty, and it was also a pretty big flop and critically panned. I like that movie.
Okay.
It's like her version of Beverly Hills Cop, and it's actually pretty good.
Here's the thing.
And Sam Elliott's in it.
I
It's really
think
good.
I had seen this in the 80s and not hated it, but also I probably would have been fine with Bobcat. I might have just literally just been happy watching Bobcat be Bobcat.
Well, I
at that
think
point, 'cause
Bobcat
I was a
was
fucking idiot teenager.
Well, no, and I think Bobcat at the time, like, he was so popular and people just thought he was funny for being Bobcat.
Yeah.
He would show up on talk shows and do his shtick.
Yeah.
And so that's what he was
and
doing
I
here.
guarantee I
But-
probably would have liked him fine.
But now when you're watching it,
God.
when you watch it in 2023 eyes, you're just
35
like,
years later, I'd be like, fuck this garbage.
It doesn't
it's
age very well.
It does not
Yeah.
age well.
No.
It does not age well.
Yeah, and this was also a pretty huge flop.
Yeah,
nobody-
this
did not
and
do well.
what is that? Jumpin' Jack Flash. Whoopi had a bunch of flops.
No, Jumpin' Jack Flash was a hit.
Was it a hit?
It was a
Okay,
hit.
I
It was a
remember
hit.
people not liking it. And I remember
It's
not
good.
hating
No,
it.
I remember.
I don't think I hated
Penny
it.
Marshall's
That
first
actually
movie.
might be the one that she's on a motorcycle on the poster.
No, she's doing like this on the poster.
Oh, okay.
No, she's on a motorcycle on the poster.
Okay, there's a different alternate.
There
version of
is.
the
There
poster.
is.
Okay.
All right, Something Wild. So this one, we had a quick drive, and then we saw the end of Platoon,
That's right.
where everybody dies, and Charlie Sheen's still alive, and he's full of charcoal. So after the napalm kills the village.
Look at this
or
fucking
it's like-
terrible poster for this movie. I do not
I
understand
like.
the poster
I
for
kind of
this
like
movie.
the poster.
I don't
well, I
understand
like
it at all.
And and going back to Outrageous Fortune, that and this poster, I love it that when the posters are painted.
Yeah, I mean, I like that
I
option.
love it. I think
just
it's so
don't
great.
understand what the fuck's happening in this poster.
Well,
because
Jeff Daniels is upside down,
yes,
and Melanie
yeah.
Griffith is licking her lips,
Yes.
looking at him.
so
Something Wild.
Okay, we already watched Blind Date. Let's just watch Blind Date again. Apparently, that's really
There-
what this movie kind of is.
It's so funny.
It's a
there's
different-
there's
it's
a
just-
lot of
It's
similarities.
a very, very a lot of similarities.
And I was thinking
It's a
that while we
better
were watching
movie,
it.
but that doesn't mean
While
much.
we're watching
okay?
it. Yeah. So I will say this. So this is Jonathan Demme. Again, when we watched Jonathan Demme we did Crazy Mama, whatever, on the first episode. That was his second movie. He was working for Roger Corman. He is now not working for Roger Corman anymore. This is an Orion Pictures.
I figured that out from watching this movie and not wanting to kill myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this was kind of his first movie to. Well, Melvin and Howard, in 1980 was critically acclaimed. This movie was another one that kind of brought people to that. This actually is has a pretty big cult following.
Yes, I after watching, after we saw it, I looked up some reviews, and I'm like, I don't agree with most of these reviews.
So it's actually, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's like 89, 91%.
It's like over 90, I think. It's really big. And I'm like,
and I think it got 2 thumbs up.
There are things about this movie that I don't completely hate, but also I'm like, boy, I really expected to like this movie a lot more.
Wow, good. I'm actually on the same page with you. So, Something Wild. So Jonathan Demme, who, like I mentioned before in the first episode, he went on to direct Silence of the Lambs. Right after this, he did Married to the Mob with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yes, okay.
So, but then right after that, in 2 movies, he did Silence of the Lambs, which won Best Picture.
And that turned him into, you can do whatever you fucking want.
Yeah.
Because at this point, he was just doing jobs.
Yeah.
Is what
I think at this point, because he helped produce this too, I think this was something he legitimately wanted to do. I think he was I can see why he was attracted to it, because it kind of takes the American screwball comedy and kind of turns it on its ear. I think that's what it was doing.
It seems to be trying to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
I think that's what he was. I can see why he was attracted to the project. I absolutely see it. So Charlie played.
I think there's a version of this movie to be made that I like a lot.
Me too.
This is not it.
And it would be having 15 minutes of stuff before the movie starts, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I'll tell you why. So Charlie, Jeff Daniels plays Charlie, and he's at a diner, and there's a Melanie Griffith who's Lulu, who's wearing obvious wig, and looks
that wig
over
is
at
awful.
She looks at Jeff Daniels.
Because I was not clear. They were like, they would cut to one of them looking, and I'm like, are they looking at each other?
Well,
I'm not really clear about
what the fuck
was happening
I don't think
there.
Jeff Daniels noticed her at all. She was looking at Jeff Daniels, and Jeff Daniels.
Well, obviously she was, because she saw a thing.
So what he does is he's eating, and he's wearing a business suit. He's a businessman, and he looks like that he's got money, but he leaves without paying his check. And she noticed it, and she's like, "Hey, you didn't leave your check." And he mistakes her for a waitress, going like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go."
He's stupid.
And so he gives the money.
She's dressed like a waitress.
And then
she's
she
dressed
goes
like an insane person. Okay?
And then she goes, "Oh no, I wasn't me. Why don't you hop in the car? Let's go." And she pretty much kidnaps him.
The only reason she does it is because she calls him out for the
"You're a rebel"
paying, and obviously she goes, every once in a while you like to do a bad thing,
don't you?
Like to do a bad
come with
thing.
me. We'll do more bad things.
Yeah,
and so
bad things is right.
So they take off and they go across. They go to New Jersey. They get a hotel and they do it. They have sex.
No, they body bump. God damn you!
Sorry, they body bump. Like she gets the handcuffs up, and she's like, "Oh, here we go." And we find out that he's married. So then
Shit, I don't think I called it body bumping in Burglar. Body bump Burglar done.
So, when they body bump. What happens is, so she finds out they're married, and he's like calling his wife, but then he's like not actually calling his wife because you can hear the dial tone. He's like calling his wife, saying where she's at.
Yes, that was like, because it took me a second, and I'm like, I can hear the dial tone. This is fucking fake.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm like intrigued. I'm like, why is he fucking lying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does he not want it? I don't know. But I still thought he was married at this point.
I didn't know.
No,
I was like, because later on, like 2 scenes later, he's calling, and he does call his kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, is he or isn't he? I don't know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah. Well, what happens then, Melanie Griffith just keeps doing crazy things. She goes in the liquor store and like practically robs the liquor store. And she goes,
she's not practically, she
legit
legit robs the liquor store. What are you talking
she goes
about?
there,
Practically.
and so she just does all these crazy things. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And it's so funny because
it's weird because sometimes he goes like manic, and then he just like next scene he's fine with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
I think he's intrigued by just how wild and crazy she is, that she does all these impulsive things, but at the same time, he's still kind of uptight. And
I think he's like, if you took that shitty wig off, you'd be attractive.
And she does.
Yeah, she does. And she's like, oh yeah, she becomes much better looking.
Yeah, also short blonde, spiky blonde hair.
Biggest surprise in this movie, Melanie Griffith's tits are in this movie?
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
sure.
Because she, later on, she becomes such a rom-com thing, and I'm like, oh, I thought she was like the super innocent lady.
You see her, so I've seen her in another movie called, Brian De Palma film 2 years before this called Body Double, and she plays a porn star, so you get to see her naked in that movie too.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it doesn't not make sense. It makes perfect sense in the movie.
We get to see everything. You see Jeff Daniels' ass in this movie too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it made sense. I was just like, because I had this predisposition to Melanie Griffith.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I did
this
not
is
expect
pre-boob job, because she actually did get a boob job in the 1980s.
Oh, okay.
So.
I didn't hate him.
So then they go to her mom's house, and then all of a sudden, oh, you're coming to my reunion with me.
Yeah.
And so
Well, her mom knows it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Her mom figures it out real quick.
In one weird scene where she's like,
how long have you actually known her? I've known her for a little bit. like a day.
So they're at the reunion.
He finds out her real name. Because she was like Lulu or something.
It's right down there, Audrey Henkel.
Yeah, but the name
Lulu.
she had been going was Lulu. Yeah.
So they're at the reunion, and this is kind of when the movie switches gears a little bit.
It does.
Because Ray Liotta shows up.
Ray Liotta is great in this.
He's really good in the movie. Yeah, I'm a big Ray Liotta fan, and he steals the movie.
He steals the movie
every scene he's in.
Because here's the thing: we watched Blind Date,
yes,
and we were talking about how Larroquette's kind of fun and stuff. Ray Liotta
is the flip side of that character,
but he's fucking terrifying.
He is the flip side of that character.
He is legit terrifying.
So he
in
is
this movie.
stalking her. He just gets out of prison, trying to get after Melanie Griffith. He's like, "Who's this fucking Charlie guy? I want to fucking kill him." But he pretends to be all nice to him, brings him to a hotel, and legitimately pulls out a gun and is just like, "I fucking want her back," you know?
Yeah.
And she's just. I think she's scared for Jeff Daniels, of course, and is just like, you know what? Get out of here, Charlie.
This is one
I don't
of
want
the
you
weird
here.
things that has a similarity to Blind Date.
Right.
She basically sacrifices herself to save Jeff Daniels.
Yeah. But then one of the best scenes in the movie is when Jeff Daniels goes, you know what? I'm going to fight for her.
Oh, in the
diner.
In the
And
diner.
he
The diner is the best
when
scene
he
in the
shows up and
The diner is the
he
best
sits
scene in the
down
movie.
and he said, okay, I want Lulu. And he's like, you got some balls. And he's like, nope. See them over there? Hey, guys. And there's cops sitting over there. And he's just like, I don't think that you're supposed to be doing this. And you just robbed this. And
I'm pretty sure that car outside is stolen.
It's stolen
blah, blah,
too.
blah.
And I'm sure your officer wouldn't like that you're in Pennsylvania. And he's
And
just
if
like,
you did anything to me, they will find all your hidden weapons on
Yep.
you. You are going back to prison
Yep.
if you even
And
fucking think about touching me.
and he's like, fuck you. And he's like, I'm out of here. And then he leaves. And then they stick him with the bill.
Yes, because that's
is great too,
which
yeah.
is a callback to when
Yeah.
she stuck
Yeah,
Jeff
yeah, yeah.
Daniels with
Yep.
the bill, which is one of the things I have a problem with this movie because he falls in love, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
at the end of this, they're in love, and I'm like, did you forget that she's fucking terrible?
And then-
she's not as terrible as Ray Liotta, but
No.
she's pretty fucking shitty.
But
okay?
then there's like, and then after that happens, then Melanie Griffith's all mad because you find out that Jeff Daniels isn't married, and she's mad that he's not married, that she
Yes.
lied. She's like, what? You're not married?
Because she legitimately only wanted to be with a married guy.
Yeah.
Because she's not good. Okay?
No, she's not a good
Stop.
person.
I mean, I understand. Makes perfect sense. Rescue her. She gave her thing up.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But don't then try to, like, I really want to be with that crazy woman who's almost certainly going to stab me in my sleep.
Yeah. So then, but Ray Liotta tracks him down, and then there's a pretty good confrontation like that at the end.
Yes.
And
It's mostly really good.
yeah.
The stabbing is kind of whatever. It's kind of shitty. Okay?
Right.
It's really shitty. It's
So
not bad.
So this movie, it's I kind of get the appeal of why it's highly regarded. I think Melanie Griffith. I mean, the actors are good in the movie.
I disagree.
Oh, you didn't like
I
Melanie
didn't
Griffith?
like Melanie. I thought she was really wooden.
Okay,
the
I did
entire
like
time.
her in it. I did
and
like her.
I'm like, Jeff Daniels, I've seen him and stuff.
He's
and I know
fine.
Jeff Daniels can be good. And I'm like, I don't know. He just turns on a dime too many times.
Yeah.
He's like mad. And then literally the next scene, he's enjoying himself again. And I'm like,
I think that's
no.
direction and
Yeah, no,
writing,
I understand.
you know?
I understand.
I think it's direction.
But
and
also, I'm
writing.
like, there are actors who could do that though.
But
There are
yeah,
actors who could sell you on that.
Oh, did you
and
notice
he
John
does not
Waters
sell
in the
you
movie?
on
John Waters is the car salesman. He shows up and like, there's fucking John Waters.
Oh, God,
I like
that
John
was
Waters.
John
so.
Waters, yeah.
So John Sayles was the motorcycle cop. I don't remember him, but John Sayles wrote Wild Thing.
Oh my God! Oh
played the
my
motor-
God!
he played the
Well,
motorcycle
I
guy.
guess here's the thing I was wondering: did they have to change the name of this movie from Wild Thing? Because
Oh,
boy,
right. They
they
played
doubled
Wild
down
Thing.
on Wild Thing. Wild Thing is in this movie significantly more than the movie Wild Thing.
I agree. Yeah, it is. So Ray Liotta's fantastic in the movie. He's the
Yes,
best part.
he is the best.
Here
thing in
is
this movie.
why I am not as crazy about it as everyone else is. So one, Jonathan Demme, I think the direction's fine. It's nothing spectacular.
There's nothing. I was like watching, and I'm like,
It's not poorly made.
I'm expecting good.
It is not poorly made.
Mostly, we had just watched Burglar, which had some
Yeah.
really bad editing.
No, but
I'm
this
like,
is not
okay,
poorly made.
Nothing like that happens.
No,
in
no, this isn't a
There
poorly
are
made
time
film.
jumps, and they feel natural.
It is
okay?
competently made, and I got to do a shout out to when I went to film school, my teacher Bruce, he wrote a film book. and he used the dining room scene as far for an example of blocking and how you block shots and stuff. So that was kind of neat.
So the dining room scene is really good.
Yeah. So that's actually in his book. They show like the dining room scene and how it was set up.
I agree with the dining room scene.
How was the
There's
rest?
a scene right before the dining room scene that confused the shit out of me, and it was all just set up to be this way for him to get out of the dining room.
Oh, you mean when he hits on that one?
He hits on that girl.
chick.
He knocks on the door.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
let me in because they're gonna close. And then it literally is just because he wants to flirt with this underage girl.
Yeah.
And then he uses the underage girl to get out
of the
to get money. They don't really even make that clear though.
No.
But I assume he gets money from her.
Yeah.
And he's like making out with her a little bit.
So
and I'm like, I understand that maybe, but also when it was happening, I'm like, why the fuck is this in the movie? The previous stuff where he was like being a horrible monster in Melanie Griffith's character made sense. And then for some reason, he throws her in the pool and she just goes for a swim and he goes to flirt with her. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened in this movie? This makes no fucking sense.
My major problem with the film was I had a really hard time getting into it. And this is why I didn't know anything about the two main characters. And within 2 minutes, they're fucking driving off together, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
I mean, okay,
what is going on?
You said you wanted 15 minutes beforehand.
At least 5 or 10 minutes.
I think there's a way to do it without those 15 minutes. Because
I
actually liked the mystery.
They did not establish the characters.
It eventually makes sense why he's willing to do stuff with her, because he isn't married. At one point, I'm like, he's fucking ruining his marriage for nothing. Oh, his marriage is already ruined. Never mind.
Yeah. That was a good twist, actually.
And he gets sort of measles his way out of work. And I assume this is the weekend because the next day is a high school reunion.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, this is the weekend. Does not. No, granted, I was amused that he gets to the high school reunion and he knows one of the guys there. And the guy, this is how Ray Liotta finds out he's divorced.
Oh, right.
Because the guy mentions
I didn't think I had
that
it in
his
him,
wife had left him a year earlier.
Yep.
And so he's like, oh, he's got fucking hottie right now, so he's doing just fine. Okay? And at that point, Jeff Daniels is like upset. It's like, oh my god, he saw me, and he goes, that guy thinks you're a fucking hero.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's like,
he does.
You're not wrong. That guy thinks because he was there with his actual fucking wife.
Yeah.
And his wife got real pissed.
Yeah.
And because he was like, oh god, look at him, he's banging that fucking hottie.
When the stuff is happening, it just happened way too quick for me. It was just like she's just like, come in here, come in this, we're doing that. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I'm like, slow down.
It does go too fast. Really. I think you're not wrong. A little longer. I don't think it has to be before the beginning.
Okay.
I think it just has to be the beginning of their relationship has to have more setup.
It just nothing was just established for the characters that I mean, granted. Probably the only one you really need to establish more was Jeff Daniels, because then Melanie Griffith was more of a mystery.
Yes,
but
they
were
kind of both a mystery.
Yeah, it ended up being that way.
I think they could have done that better.
And maybe if I watch it again, it wouldn't bother me as much. I don't know. I would give this movie a second chance because I feel like I have to, because people love this movie.
People really seem to love it. I looked up the reviews, and they were talking about how he out Hitchcock's Hitchcock, and I'm like, you should fucking watch Hitchcock again. Okay? What the fuck's wrong with you?
But yeah, I know I have a lot of friends that like it. I know Quentin Tarantino's a big champion of this film. It's just people love this movie, and
I think they like the Ray Liotta.
That stuff's awesome, yeah.
The stabbing, though, is so... Ray Liotta pulls out a knife. He's about to kill Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
And then she, hits Ray Liotta in the hand.
Jeff Daniels picks
up the knife, and then
Ray Liotta runs into it.
And he's like, Ray, no! And I'm like, you picked up the knife. You're about to fucking stab him to death, okay? Just be happy that the fucking guy who was about to murder you isn't going to murder you anymore. So, okay?
Yeah,
it's like they try to make him, he's not a bad person. And I'm like, he doesn't have to be a bad person to stab that guy who's about to kill him. Okay?
So I was really underwhelmed with the film.
I was. I was like,
besides Ray Liotta, I thought the rest of the movie was
I knew nothing about this movie.
Oh, okay.
You had picked it.
Yeah, I knew what it was.
I didn't know anything. I started watching it. I'm like, Jonathan Demme. Okay, this movie might be fine. I knew it was before Silence of the Lambs, but I'm like, this movie's going to be pretty good. And then it's like halfway through, even though there's like some cool stuff, I'm like, I wish this movie was just better.
And then it kind of does with Ray Liotta shows up, and then
it gets better there. But you're right, everything before Ray Liotta is just.
I didn't like the movie.
It actually seems like it's kind of badly made.
Yeah, I actually didn't like the first half of the movie.
Why do I not like this movie?
Right, and it was kind of too little, too late.
I was kind of wondering, it's because I watched Blind Date, and this is just kind of a slightly better, but not as
It's
much
so
better
funny.
version of Blind Date as
It's
I want
funny
it to be.
because this is considered a comedy, a black comedy.
There's like no jokes in this fucking
No,
movie.
I don't think anything was funny in it.
Yeah, I saw that when I looked at reviews. Oh, it's like it even says right here, screwball comedy, and I'm like,
It's not funny.
What fucking comedy?
laughed more
Is
in
the comedy the stuff that I was either annoyed with or never laughed at?
Not saying
or
that,
terrified me?
not
Are
saying
those
that
the
it's a
funnies?
better. Not saying that it's a better movie. But I laughed more in Blind Date than I
Oh,
did
I
in this
laughed a
movie.
lot more in Blind Date. But
Than I
Blind
did in
Date
this movie.
is actively trying to be a actual legit comedy
Right.
that has a shitty plot. This is a shitty plot, but doesn't have any comedy.
I almost feel like that you can take the two movies and make a good movie out of
I
it.
honestly believe
Blind Date and
Here's
Something
the
Wild.
thing.
You
I-
just put them together.
The Blind Date, if you remove the part where he basically gets her drunk,
Yeah.
if it was just he needed a date, he just happened to run into this fucking
Crazy lady, that would be
crazy
good.
lady
Yeah,
with a wig
yeah.
on, and then his life gets all fucking turned
I
around.
would-
That'd be 100 times better movie.
I think that'd be good. And then have Ray
and then she finds out,
and then have
oh,
Ray Liotta in there.
Ray Liotta shows up, yeah, or yeah, the Lara Kett character is Ray Liotta,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're legitimately, even though, and all the times
Yeah.
Lara Kett like attacks him,
Yeah.
you're never afraid for him.
No, you're laughing.
In
You're
this,
laughing at it.
when Ray Liotta is even in the fucking same
Oh,
county,
he's
as
a
people,
wild
I'm like,
dog in
oh
this
God.
movie.
I'm like, there's a non-0% chance that Ray Liotta's going to win in this movie. Okay,
He's terrifying in the movie.
He is
and
real
you
scary.
don't know what he's going to do. He's very unpredictable. And I think he was nominated Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
He's the only thing worth nominating in this
Yeah,
movie. though.
absolutely. Yeah, and so I feel so. I'm at a 2 stars. I can't go below a 2 because
I'm
there's
sorry,
good stuff in it.
I gave Blind Date 1.5. I think
1.5 or a 2. I gave it a 2.
I'm going to give Blind Date a 1.5. I'll give this a 2. It
Okay.
is better than Blind Date, but it still isn't any good. Okay, it is baffling how much
Well,
people like this movie. I wish
I
like,
just-
I don't understand liking this movie.
I don't.
I legitimately
I don't think
gave
it's
Wild
bad.
Thing a 3.5, and it is by far the most entertained I was in all
So
these
yeah,
movies.
so out of the 6 movies that we all watched together, Wild Thing is my favorite one, even though I gave it a 2.5. This is the first episode where I did not give anything over a 3. This is the first
Oh yeah,
episode.
that's right. Okay, yeah, the very first one, everything was shitty except for
Murder by Death.
Murder by Death is legitimately a great
I
movie.
gave 3 stars to Eat My
Yeah,
Dust as
yeah.
well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I like Eat My Dust. But no, this one I didn't give any 3s
No.
or higher in this movie. You gave 3.5 for
I
Wild
gave
Thing.
3.5, but it's kind of almost an irony one. But no, I legit will happily watch that movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it other times.
Out of all these movies, I would watch Wild Thing again.
Wild Thing is
Yeah.
the one I want to show people.
Yeah.
I don't want to show any of these movies to anybody else.
No.
And if you were to,
Starship's the worst,
If you wanted
though.
to fucking make me kill myself, threaten to either. Tim, you either
Watch
have to
the-
kill yourself or watch Starship again. I'm like, well, it's been nice knowing you. I guess Starship's real fucking shitty. It's really
so
unwatchable.
we both agree that Best Picture is going to go to Wild Thing.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Best Picture.
No, it's not gonna have the best performance.
No, but I'm just
every
saying-
performance is fucking terrible.
So best.
What's best performance?
Best
I might
performance?
give it to Bette Midler. Actually, I like Bette.
I would
Midler
give
a
it.
lot.
I would give it to Shelley Long because I really like
Okay,
Shelley Long.
well
in
that's
it.
fine. That's
But
fine.
supporting actor is Ray Liotta. That's like
Yes. Oh yes.
no
oh, yeah.
question.
Crush.
Yeah.
In actor and a male lead, nobody. I can't come up with anybody
Yeah.
that I would like.
No.
Oh wait, no, Goodman. He's not a lead though.
No, you know what? I'm gonna give it to Robert Knepper for Wild Thing. Fuck it. I'm giving it to fucking Robert Knepper.
something?
Best actor. He's out of all these
Actually,
movies, he's the best leading actor.
Done,
in
you
this
know
film.
something?
Body bump. Come on, body bump.
I agree. He did the best with the shit he was given.
Body bump.
Okay? And he was given.
He was fully committed to that.
He went
Yeah.
all the way.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
legit urban Tarzan.
No, he's great.
He fucking swings on ropes and everything. Goddamn Wild Thing, I love you.
You move me.
You move me, Wild Thing. You move me. I want to body bump the shit out of you, Wild Thing.
So that's the episode. 1987.
Yeah, there we go, 87.
And it was kind of a bummer because so a lot of people, you know, when they do like a lot of podcasts, when they're like, well, we're gonna like, there's that one podcast that that's called How Did This Movie Get Made? They watch shitty movies on purpose. The purpose, at least for me, I'm trying to find gems. So
Yes.
when I don't like something on an episode,
Yes.
it's a bummer for me.
But
it's
here's
a
the
bummer.
thing. I think we found a gem.
With Wild
Wild
Thing?
Thing is a fucking gem.
You like
It's
it more than I
near
did. You like it
perfect
more than I
shitty
did.
movie. it's so watchably shitty. I loved it so fucking much. I loved it. Oh my god!
Well, I'm glad
so
you got
entertained by
that.
that piece of garbage. I loved it.
All right, so we have one more episode this season. Like I said, at this point, we don't know what the seasons are gonna look like or whatever.
Yes.
But we're trying to do. I'm doing 12 for this first one, kind of like a trial run. Also, before I mention too, at this point, you know, the episodes have been airing. I want to talk about our theme song. So our theme song is me, my nephew Keaton, who's 16, and then myself. We both collaborated and we wrote the theme together. So he came up with the theme itself, and then I came up with like all the layers and shit. So that was fun. Yeah, I'm glad.
I have listened to it.
Yes,
and I 16 years old. He's fucking good.
Yeah, he's good.
It's crazy.
He's been very musical his whole life. So
no, he's good. Well, he should be here. Listen to our fucking episode, but too fucking bad, buddy.
Yeah, well, it's
too
because
late.
it's a school night. That's why.
He's a fucking child.
He's a junior in high school.
He'll
Yeah,
listen to it when it comes out.
that's right. Okay, so next week for our final episode of the season, we are going back in time to May 25th.
Yes! None of this bullshit cheating, asshole! I'm gonna weasel my way to the 27th! No! 25th, asshole!
May 25th, 1977, the day on a Wednesday, Star Wars comes out. Guess what? We're not gonna fucking see Star Wars.
We want to see the shit that Star Wars crushed. Star Wars crushed under its fucking heel.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny too because I think at the time, it's only at 1 or 2 theaters because it expanded later because the studio didn't have anything on it. Yeah,
all this shit gets fucking annihilated.
So, anyways,
actually, it's kind of the stuff that comes out like 2 weeks later. Actually gets annihilated.
So we're gonna review the day that Star Wars came out. We're gonna watch movies.
Everything but Star Wars.
Everything but Star Wars. So
I told a friend of mine what the last one was. He goes, "Why don't you just watch Star Wars?" And I'm like, I could just talk about Star Wars. I've seen Star Wars 900
so many times.
times.
We could do a whole episode.
I don't need to watch Star Wars to talk about Star Wars. What are you talking about?
And I saw it. You saw it back in the theater when it came out.
I saw it in 77.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Just say it right now, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's the Star Wars story I have to tell everybody.
Yeah.
1977. I was born in 68.
Yep.
1977. I was 8. I turned 9 that year.
Yep.
I have a brother who's one. I have one brother 1 year younger than me. One brother 2 years younger.
Okay.
Small town, Wisconsin. It might have probably not come to the small town until later in the summer. Okay. It was only in town for a week. I saw it 7 fucking times. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't see it on its initial run because I was 1, but I did see
weirdly,
it.
maybe this stuff should be held for next episode.
Oh, that's fine.
But whatever.
That's fine.
We'll say it all again.
We will. No,
I actually have other Star Wars stories.
Oh yeah, well good. Let's do them all. All right, so yeah, next week will be that, and that's good. Well, thanks for listening, and until next time, I'm your host Austin Kennedy.
I'm Tim Kaiser.
All right, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, it was kind of okay. You kind of said it okay. Get acting lessons.
Yay! Goodbye.
That was very Jonathan Demme of you.
Ooh. Bye bye.